work and cosmetic procedures. Enlarged prostates are going undiagnosed and untreated. New research commissioned by YouGov has found 84% of men aged 50 plus have not received a diagnosis despite reporting symptoms. Barry, now 65, spent decades suffering. He says men shouldn't suffer in silence.
When we would go to a restaurant with friends, I would go to the bathroom 8 to 10 times and nobody else went at all. And you're a little bit of a slave to where the next toilet is.
It's hoped new research will make heart screening more accessible for women. The Heart Foundation will provide close to $14 million to determine whether a scan for breast cancer can simultaneously indicate risk of developing heart disease. The George Institute for Global Health's Dr. Lauren Houston says the 2-in-1 check could increase testing rates among women.
50% of women annually attend their breast cancer screening in that age bracket of 50 to 74 years. So if we can engage those women to also have a heart health check or while they're there or have access to it, it would be great.
Matthew Perry's family has opened up on their grief a year since the Friends actor's death. US correspondent Jonathan Kersley has more.
Matthew Perry was known as the lovable character Chandler Bing on the hit TV sitcom Friends. A year ago he was found dead at his California home. Now his mother, stepfather and sisters have spoken with NBC's Today program. His mother Suzanne says the grief will never go away.
You've got to stop blaming yourself.
The actor had a long battle with addiction and was using ketamine treatments at the time of his death. A number of people have been charged and are before the courts.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. The Matildas have caused an upset of world number 4 ranked Germany in their international friendly. Australia winning 2-1 thanks to goals from Claire Hunt and Kaya Karuni-Cross. Meantime, Manchester United has decided to sack Erik ten Hag following the club's terrible start to the season, which has seen the Red Devils struggle in 14th place on the English Premier League table. Well, Australia's biggest stars have been rested from the men's T20 series against Pakistan next week. Pat Cummins, Steve Smith and Mitchell Marsh are among the names who've been left out of the 13-man squad. Chair of Selectors George Bailey says the decision was made to let them concentrate on the Test series against India.
Rather than sort of switching guys in and out and it becoming quite messy, it was just deemed more appropriate for a number of reasons to separate them out.
Meantime, the Adelaide Strikers women's side will take on the Sydney Sixers at North Sydney Oval later this afternoon as they look to bounce back with a win following a first-up loss in their WBBL campaign to the Brisbane Heat. Briefly, elsewhere, AFL Rising Star winner Jaden Stevenson has announced his retirement despite having 1 year to run on his contract at North Melbourne. And baseball's World Series heads to New York today with the Yankees desperate to get on the board against the LA Dodgers in Game 3. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Sunny and 25 today. Tomorrow, sunny 27. Thursday, still sunny, or mostly sunny, 24. And Friday, mostly sunny, 23. Currently, it's 9. More news as it happens on 5AA.
The BJ in BJ Energy stands for Benjamin Jack, the director. And the energy, well, that stands for savings. BJ Energy specialise in saving their clients money by harnessing the power of the sun. So book a tailored consultation with a genuine company you can trust. And remember, if they wouldn't put it on their own roof, they certainly won't put it on yours. BJ Energy only use quality materials and brands like Solar Edge. For a free, no obligation quote, visit bjenergy.com.au.
It's easy to get behind the wheel of a new Mawson Lakes Volkswagen right now. In fact, it's ridiculously easy. All you need to do is head to the showroom on Salisbury Highway, check out the range of new and demo Volkswagens on sale now, and then pick your favourite. How easy is that? All stock is ready for immediate delivery, with easy finance options available. And remember our next day servicing. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
It's that time of year where we hear about the best hotels in SA at the SA Hotel Industry Awards for Excellence. Best live music venue is the Crown and Anchor Hotel, and best entertainment and sporting entertainment goes to the Aqaba Hotel. The Grand Junction Tavern has SA's best pub tab. Best bar presentation and experience metro is the Highway and the Sterling. In the country, it's the McLaren Vale Hotel, also winning Best Overall Hotel Country. Congratulations to these outstanding South Australian pubs.
When you think of single malt Scotch whisky, you might imagine Scotland's green hills, her fresh babbling brooks, and rose.
Adelaide wakes up with FIVEAA, David Penberthy and Will Goodings, Tom Wren for sport, Jade Robran on the scene as it happens, Graham Goodings and Jess Adamson with the news that matters to Adelaide. Breakfast with David and Will, bringing together the names you trust with everything you need to know to start your day. Always live, always local and only on FIVEAA. Always Adelaide.
To your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, FIVEAA Breakfast.
7 after 6, good morning to you and welcome to Tuesday on FIVEAA Breakfast, the 29th of October. You're waking up in the coldest capital city in Australia this morning. That's right, it's even colder than Canberra in Adelaide right now. A chilly 8.8 degrees if you just heard in FIVEAA News, but we are heading for a magnificent top of 25. But elsewhere around the country, it's a warm, warm start to the day. Big morning ahead. Looking forward to this. We're going to be chatting with the grower of SA's best roses. Looking forward to that before 7 o'clock this morning. After 7, Brenton Cox from the Adelaide Airport about the return of Emirates flights. The economic impact of this that they project is hugely significant. We'll talk about that. Phil Curry after 7:30. I suspect the airlines might get a mention after 7:30 with Phil, maybe even during the jury. Might be a hot topic this morning. And then after 8:30, something we're launching that I think is going to be really interesting and give our listeners an opportunity not afforded anywhere else in the state. Direct access to the Treasurer of South Australia. Stephen Mulligan will start what will become a regular series of chats with us, like we do with the Police Commissioner and others, and it affords us an opportunity to open the phone lines and have you ask the Treasurer questions. That's coming up after 8:30 today, and I think it's going to be illuminating. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. Yeah, good on Dubai. Emirates for rather reinstating the flights, direct flights out of Adelaide to Dubai. When's Qantas going to get off its bum and do this? It's terrible that as the national carrier, they have no international flights out of Adelaide.
It's ludicrous. Mind you,
how does that happen? Malaysia have them. Even China Southern had them for a long time.
Maybe all their seats
Garuda do Garuda still come out of here? I'm not sure if they do actually, but definitely Qatar have been here for the long haul. And Emirates are
Singapore.
back. Singapore Airlines.
Qantas don't have enough seats, I suspect. They're too busy upgrading Australian politicians and their family members. What a business model. It's amazing.
It really is something else, isn't it?
I almost don't want to talk too much about it now because I think it's going to be a flavour throughout the morning. But it's everywhere and it's inevitable at the moment. It is the key talking point in federal politics.
I wonder if Jerry's awake. Just thinking of this in the context of my throwaway line that he's never forgotten. Albo's going to be a one-term Prime Minister. I reckon the odds narrowed with this story.
This feels like one of those stories of little consequence to the average person's life, but huge consequence to how Anthony Albanese's perceived.
The front page of today's Advertiser is him and Jodie and Alan Joyce having the hugging each other at some black tie Qantas event. Albo roaring with laughter, whatever the joke was, who knows. Both in their tuxedos. Joyce is one of the most despised men in probably the history of Australian corporate life.
Responsible for the largest illegal sacking in Australian corporate history.
Took the money and ran.
Yep.
Ripped people off, deliberately sold flights that didn't exist, little things like that. And the problem is when photos like that start popping up in this actual context, a lot of people buy the newspaper. Most people don't, but a lot of people walk past them in supermarkets and at service stations, and they go. They just look at that and they go, yeah. It's funny, like, sounds people make tell you so much about how they're going to vote. I remember in 2004 when Latham was leader, I did this big drive around with a couple of other journos and we interviewed 1,000 people in 10 days and just said, what do you think of Howard? What do you think of Latham? And with Howard they went, oh, he's all right. And it was just like...
That's perfect. That's what you want.
I think he's all right. He's all right.
Yeah, you don't need to do a lot.
And with Latham, you say, what do you think of Latham? People go, whoa. Some people go, oh, he's what we need. He's a breath of fresh air. But you know what most people said? A bit of a rat bag.
Yeah. Well,
he's a bit of a rat bag, isn't he?
People had a whiff.
They were getting a sense of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is one of those pictures, which is like a just piss off.
You know what this whole story does? And we'll talk about apps completely. We'll talk about the political element of it after 7 o'clock in some depth, I think. I now understand why Alan Joyce got paid so much for so long. I get it. I get it. He cultivated a business model that endorsed and established relationships with key decision makers in Australian government and the opposition of whatever hue in a way that I don't think anyone else in corporate Australia has ever been able to do. What you think of the millions of dollars that get spent on ex-politicians to be consultants or people that go into that line of work, where the only thing they can do for you is give you access.
Yeah,
they can give you access and they can tell you how to get in front of people, and maybe they can give you a bit of advice about how to present when you get there, right? But the key thing they get paid is access. Qantas managed to circumvent all of this. They realised they had something that, I mean, I've never been to this, what is it, the Chairman's Lounge? But my God, it must be good.
Oh, I can tell you some stories, Will.
Because everyone on some level in Australian politics is compromised. Hell, the Greens have questions to answer.
Yeah, completely. Completely. And look, it's a completely transactional arrangement. It's kind of like access almost as a form of sex work. Like, it is completely and utterly mercenary. I know this because, so when Kate and I got married, she was still a minister? I can't remember. But she was still in politics. And anyway, after we got married, one day I was at home and I just got this letter from Qantas, David Penberthy. Oh, that's funny. I opened it up. It was a bit hefty, weighs a bit. I opened it up. There's this glossy black envelope. Personal letter from Alan Joyce. Dear David, congratulations. You are now a member of the Chairman's Lounge. I'm like, what? I open up the envelope. There's this little sexy black gold card, a black matte card. And purely because Kate was a federal politician, she got one, like they all get them. And then as her partner, I got one. And I was thinking, well, it's not like I'm an aviation reporter or anything. And I hardly ever travel anyway. So I had this card. But the moment she left politics, the very moment she left, when she said she's not running in the 2000 and whatever it was election, she got a letter from Qantas saying, Dear Ms. Ellis, your membership of the Chairman's Club is no longer valid. And it was like, that's it, you're out. And like that, I cannot stress enough, that's not a complaint, because this whole thing struck me as bizarre. But it's a different world, and it is designed to make people less likely to be critical of Qantas, more likely to be defensive of Qantas, and more likely to be totally silent about Qantas.
Oh, well, more likely to make decisions, perhaps, like Qatar Airways wants to come in and cut into some of the market share. Oh, no, we can't do that. It's not the national interest. Whose interest?
Yeah.
The Dutton's text line's got a few coming through. Only one I'll read now. Terry in Henley Beach says, I'm awake and listening with interest. Good on you, Terry.
Hey, Terry, one thing I will say is this is a raw across politics, and Peter Dutton has also had plenty of flight upgrades too.
Yeah, but isn't the thing that kicks into another sphere with our boat? No one else, as far as I've seen in the Joe Aston book from which all these allegations came,
was
calling Alan Joyce personally and saying, as the Transport Minister.
Yeah, in a way, it's even worse as Transport Minister than as Prime Minister.
Completely worse.
Because it's specifically in your portfolio area.
This is serious.
Next time you're at the airport, folks, when you're walking down towards, so you head into the terminal, you can either go left or right.
This is not the lounge.
No, I'll tell you where it is. So you go through the security, don't turn left, turn right, and turn right towards the traditional normal Qantas Club, but there's a door that just says private. That's all it says. And that's it. If you're in there, you're in the wrong place. And they have these amazing club sandwiches that Neil Perry makes them. Well, he doesn't make them personally. He invented the club sandwich. But every time you go in there, you see every politician you can think of. You see the Greens in there.
Yeah. Well, I guess they're hating it.
Fighting capitalism from...
Hating every second of it.
Yeah, that's right.
I hate being in here.
Yeah.
We're about to go and pollute the earth. In an hour's time, we'll talk more about this, and then Phil Curry will have his thoughts on it as well. We'd love to get yours. Lots of those coming through. Dutton's text line, 0248 08 1395. I love the good people at Dutton's. Their car dealerships are in the Adelaide Hills and Murray Bridge, and they're wonderfully easy to do business with. We're going to take a quick break. News headlines coming up next.
Experience Adelaide's fast track to fun, fashion and flair this spring racing carnival at Morphettville. Celebrate the race that stops the nation with the only genuine race day atmosphere in the city this Melbourne Cup Day, Tuesday, November 5th. Luxe premium hospitality, all-inclusive packages on the lawn and general admission are all selling fast. Tickets and packages online now at morphettville.com.au. Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
Are you on track to meet your retirement goals or worried about the future? Retirement planning is one of the most important things you can do. With the right advice and a personalised approach from Guardian Wealth Solutions, you can feel confident knowing you've prepared for the future you want. Jackie from Guardian Wealth Solutions will work with you to build a secure future that's right for you. The right advice now will ensure that your retirement years are not just comfortable, but truly enjoyable. GuardianWealthSolutions.com.au.
I'll be riding shotgun. The Subaru October demonstrator event is now on, and your next adventure is within reach, with a $750 fuel card free across selected demonstrator models. Subaru for a world discovered. T's and C's apply.
If you love where you live, but your home is getting tired, maybe it's poorly designed, or it's time to have the home you've always wanted. Get in touch with Concept Building and Renovations. You'd be hard-pressed to find a more honest, more motivated company when it comes to complete home renovations. From a highly detailed quote to using quality materials and the best tradespeople, get in touch with Concept Building and Renovations and love where you live even more. conceptbuilding.com.au.
Stay comfortable all year round with a $399 Actron air conditioner from Mac Trade Services. Thanks to the SA Government REPS rebates, if you're a concession card holder or a renter, you can get an Actron Air reverse cycle air conditioner supplied and installed from just $399. That's nearly 80% off the normal price. Hurry, this deal won't last long. Terms and conditions apply. Visit us at our Rose Park office or find out more at mactradeservices.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
19 minutes after 6. I heard this news story sitting in the studio preparing, and I needed to check the figures for myself. Then that kicks off our news headlines for this half hour. The house price data about Adelaide forces you to do a double take like I did. Prices here in the September quarter, we're not talking a year here, we're talking about the quarter, in a market that around the country has been described as slowing down, grew 4.2% in a quarter.
It's absolutely staggering, isn't it?
Well, a 3-month period, 4.2%. Perth was 3.1, so faster than Perth. And Perth's been largely described as the bull of the housing market. It's expected to continue long after a downturn everywhere else. 1.5% in Brisbane. Sydney and Melbourne have started to go the other way a little bit. The latest domain analysis is the source of that information, but just remarkable. It's not cooling down in Adelaide particularly at all.
So from the years of about 1991 to 93, me and my mate Paul lived in this absolutely decrepit share house tucked in behind the Astor Hotel just off Halifax Street. And the other day I was just out driving down that lane. We paid $90 a week. 90 between the two of us. So it's $45 a week rent.
Wow.
And I was driving down that laneway and I saw a for sale sign. The whole thing's been totally tarted up. Wasn't even a masonette. It was like a trisonette. It was like the middle third of a big house. Like a corridor. And it still is a corridor. And there's 2 female agents there, and I slowed down and I looked at them, and they said, "Are you interested in the house?" And I said, "Well, kind of. I used to live here." I said, "I just can't believe it." I said, "It looks all spruced up." And I jokingly said, "If you knew what happened in this house, no one would buy it." Because it was your classic uni party house. I said, "Just out of interest, what are you expecting?" And they said, "About 700. Doesn't even have a car park. It's a corridor with 2 bedrooms, a tiny galley kitchen, and a backyard the size of a Commodore station wagon. $700. You could have got it for 70 grand 20 years ago.
Unbelievable. This is concerning, and large prostates are going undiagnosed and untreated. There's some new research out commissioned by YouGov that's found 84% of men aged 50 plus have not received a diagnosis despite having symptoms. That's 84% of people with symptoms have not received a diagnosis. Barry, now 65, spent decades suffering, and he says men shouldn't suffer in silence.
When we would go to a restaurant with friends, I would go to the bathroom 8 to 10 times and nobody else went at all. And you're a little bit of a slave to where the next toilet is.
Barry's prostate's so bad he sounds like he's AI.
He sounded a bit like that, didn't he? Almost like auto-tune, like Cher singing. The opposition is questioning the Prime Minister's relationship with Qantas boss Alan Joyce after the 24 flight upgrades that the Prime Minister then and sometime Transport Minister Anthony Albanese received. We're going to be talking more about that after 7 o'clock. Another international carrier has returned to Adelaide after the pandemic. Emirates flew in last night for the first time in 4.5 years. Departed 2 hours later back to the UAE. $62 million per year in tourism spending, the expectation is that particular line creates in South Australia. There's another figure too that kicks us into the 150 million plus range that goes to the employment opportunities in South Australia. It's a big story. Looking forward to Brenton Cox joining us after 7 o'clock to talk about it.
Well, the thing too is like if you fly Qantas, you got to fly the wrong way to go to most countries. Like if you're going to Europe, you have to fly backwards first in order to get there because you have to fly Adelaide, Brisbane, Dubai or something, or Adelaide, Melbourne, Dubai. And you're like, these are like 4 or 5 hours extra and extra money as well.
Extra money, wasting time on your trip. Federal Labor's changes to childhood autism services on the NDIS could be delayed until after next year's federal election, despite early work on an agreement with the states. The Fin Review this morning saying people with autism and related developmental delays account for about 45% of all people with an NDIS plan and are the main reason for its ballooning cost. The average participant with autism can get almost $34,000 a year, but only if services are actually available.
Geez, it's such a huge spectrum of behaviour, isn't it? Autism.
Yes. Well, autism spectrum disorder.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you think about it, like some of the really super borderline diagnoses versus people, you know, very, very significant, challenging autism. And, yeah, it's a huge thing, the NDIS.
Yes, it is a huge thing that needs to get a little bit more under control for people like our mate Alex, who is still waiting to hear back about the life-changing decisions that was made about him and his family. 8.5 degrees outside at the moment. It hasn't gotten warmer in the last half an hour. Heading for a top of 25. The weather is well worth talking about because it's beautiful. 25 and sunny today, 27 and sunny tomorrow, Thursday 24 mostly sunny, bit cooler Friday 23, then Saturday 33 degrees.
Nice.
That would be, I would suspect, the warmest day since last summer. I can't think of that. Have we had a 33? Must be around there. 28 on Sunday with a shower or two, maybe up to 2 mils of rain. It'll cool off for Monday early next week and get to 22 degrees.
Absolute mountain of texts about the Albo flights issue. One here, no other Transport Minister received these upgrades. The bloke is in trouble. One here from Buffalo Bill. Quite frankly, this Albo Qantas thing is a little storm in a teacup. All I'm interested in is having this country governed well. It must be a slow news day. Sue and Henley, the government, no snout too big, no trough too deep. This makes me bilious. Marg says, hey, Dave and Will, now we know exactly why Qatar was denied extra flights into Australia. Those extra flights would have made airfares cheaper.
To that Buffalo Bill text, I think about that Warren Buffett quote that I often repeat on the air, that good, smart investing is not about what you think will be a successful business. It's about what you think other people think will be a successful business. And politics is so much about, it's not about what you think is a big issue or not. It's what do other people think is a big issue or not. And if they do, well, they all vote.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of stuff that I think a lot of intelligent people go is stupid and meaningless. But there's a whole spectrum of reasons why people vote.
Well, like Mark Latham is probably one of the best modern examples of that in Australia.
The handshake?
The sound that people made, what do you think of Latham? Yeah. Well, the people who are going, when you ask them what they think of Latham, they made up their minds when he almost broke John Howard's hand. Now, that had nothing to do with Latham's policies.
Exactly.
But everything to do with the fact that he was mad as a March hare. Unfit to lead the country.
Australian people got that one right, didn't they?
Totally.
That was
they're bloody good at it.
Yeah, fair play. Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast Studio. Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au. Morning to you, ready?
Morning, Will. Morning, Dave. Look, boys, we'll start with some soccer. For those waking up this morning, Matilda's friendly, yes, but they've been struggling, and a great result against Germany, 2-1. Now, the winner came in the 77th minute, but the equaliser, my goodness, Kyra Cooney-Cross. Have a listen to the audio first before we go any further.
Underhit back pass, and this sort of moment's been coming. Cooney-Cross is going to shoot from distance. Incredible! Australia are level! And it's Kyra Cooney-Cross for the first time in Matilda's colours, scoring for her country!
And it was an absolute screamer, a howitzer. It was an absolute beauty.
Sounds like she's a fair way out.
45 yards, I reckon.
Wow.
So keep her off her line, and had a bit of David Beckham about it. It was when he was playing for Manchester United against Wimbledon. It was an absolute beauty. So get your eyes on that.
She was one of those. She was one of the sort of the younger cohort from the Matilda's team at the World Cup that everyone said, well, she's sort of like the next big thing.
Good. Yeah,
and obviously she's becoming the big thing now.
Yeah, and that was
she took a couple of penalties, I reckon.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, from memory.
But a very good goal, and look, a really good result. It's a bit of a transition period now for the Matildas after their previous coach, Tony Gustafsson, so Tom Samani in charge at the moment. While we're on the World Game, not altogether surprising overnight, but Erik ten Hag is gone. So on it goes, this Manchester United dearth of success since Sir Alex Ferguson left in 2013. He's the fifth full-time manager they've had since then. They've had a lot of interim managers in there as well. David Moyes, failure. Louis van Gaal, failure. Won an FA Cup. Jose Mourinho, with all the success he'd had worldwide, failure. He won a Europa League and a League Cup, but in the grand scheme of things, not enough for a club that big. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, failure. Erik ten Hag, failure. FA Cup and a League Cup. This is after Sir Alex Ferguson won them, 13 English Premier League titles, 5 FA Cups, 4 League Cups, the 2 Champions League titles as well. It's incredible how they just have not been able to move on, yet their, noisy neighbours, Manchester City, just continue to win absolutely everything. And Man United are just stuck.
I reckon 30 years ago, every single kid in the world wanted a Man United top.
Yep.
It was the only one you wanted in the Premier League. No, maybe Liverpool, but no other club. No other club. Man United by the length of the straight.
And look, it is brutal, it's competitive, and Man City would spend more money than them now, but their fall from grace has been stark. I mean, I'm not sure what the answer is. They've gone and hunted the big names previously, but they're 14th at the moment in the EPL. They've got no real look as though they're going to get back to the top level of Europe anytime soon.
Well, they used to just get every single one of the best
big
players
names
on earth.
They did, didn't they?
Well, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, but now they are competing with Liverpool. Chelsea are good again.
And the problem is, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you miss Europe, the harder it is to get into Europe.
Absolutely.
You just don't have that extra spending power.
Yep.
You're not getting the
Well,
money into your coffers.
They're not a destination club anymore.
Well, yeah, not like they were. No, that's right.
So it's going to be Ruud van Nistelrooy, who you would have remembered watching growing up. Will.
Absolutely.
Great Dutch striker. He's the interim manager, so we'll see whether or not he gets the job full-time, but problems afoot there at Man United.
Most certainly. Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys. Good
Tom.
stuff.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
25 and sunny today with the 6:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
Chipped windscreen? RAA approved repairer Complete Windscreens repairs it from just $99. Find the big red koala.
While house prices are rising slowly nationally, in Adelaide, prices grew faster than any other capital city in the September quarter. Prices here gained another 4.2% ahead of 3.1% in Perth. According to the latest Domain analysis, everything is pointing to a slowdown in the housing market, shifting in favour of buyers. Chief of Research Dr. Nicola Powell is hopeful as supply rises, house prices could drop.
Supply is rising, which means there is more choice for buyers. What we've got is a strong flow of new listings coming onto the market, and that just hasn't been met by a higher level of buyer demand.
There's suggestions a national coast guard, which operates similar to one in the US, could stop international crime gangs from infiltrating Australian borders. The outgoing Border Force boss has told News Corp a new model is needed to combat more sophisticated drug operations. Israel has been attacking Lebanon's third largest city. The IDF says it's targeting Hezbollah weapons and anti-tank missile storage facilities. Former Pentagon operative Tony Shaffer has told Today the group is unlikely to stop until it's achieved its goal.
The Israelis have essentially been, within the past 5 days, moving forward with an air campaign to go after all elements of the Iranian terror network. This is but a continuation of an effort. I think this is probably going to go on for the next 5 days into the weekend.
Another international carrier has returned to Adelaide post-pandemic. Emirates flew in last night for the first time in 4.5 years. It departed 2 hours later, headed back to the UAE. It's estimated the return of direct daily flights between Adelaide and Dubai will generate more than $62 million per year in tourism spending and create hundreds of jobs in the industry. There are fears the compassionate release of superannuation funds is going unchecked and is becoming a honeypot for greedy operators. Gabrielle Hodson has more.
Tax Office data shows the number of Australians seeking compassionate release of their super for painful, acute, life-threatening health reasons has exploded by 50% in just 6 years. But medical and dental experts have told SMH The Age the ATO isn't properly following up what the released funds are actually used for. They're also worried the guidelines are unclear. The Consumer Health Forum says dipping into superannuation has become a key source of cash under the business models of some practitioners. The newspaper gave the example of a Melbourne mechanic who withdrew $41,000 from his super for dental veneers and crowns, which he said were purely for aesthetic reasons.
The type of parenting a child experiences can literally shape their brains. International researchers who scanned the brains of 173 young people over the first 21 years of their life looked at how harsh or warm parenting styles impacted brain development. The team says children who experienced warmer parenting reported lower anxiety and depression during early adulthood. Author Professor Luke Hyde from University of Michigan says setting limits is okay, but it's how you go about it.
Having warm, firm limits with kids is actually very good for them. And most of the study focused on psychological aggression, which was measured by shouting, threatening to spank the kid, swearing at the kid. So I think a little bit more extreme things that probably most parents would say they don't think was maybe their best behavior at the time.
Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
Sports News, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Let's start with soccer. The Matildas have pulled off a huge upset win, defeating Olympic bronze medalists and world number 4 Germany 2-1. They fell behind after just 5 minutes before Kyra Cooney-Cross equalised just before half-time with an absolute screamer from just inside the halfway line. Claire Hunt then scored the winner from a corner in the second 45, as heard on Paramount Plus.
In it swings, and it's 2-1 for Australia! Put the Matildas in front. Catley's corner, met by Claire Hunt.
Champion trainer Gabe Waterhouse is backing Melbourne Cup hope Just Fine to bounce back next Tuesday. The 7-year-old gelding is coming off a disappointing last-place finish in the Moonee Valley Cup. Waterhouse believes Just Fine could deliver her a second Melbourne Cup.
He's coming to Flemington. He's won at Flemington and won in devastating fashion. He's back on a track he trains every day on. I can't see why he won't run very well.
Let's go to cricket. Australian Test selectors have confirmed WA wicketkeeper Josh Inglis is in contention for a Test call-up this summer, but not as an opener. In the Women's Big Bash, meantime, the Sydney Thunder has gone down in its season opener against the Hobart Hurricanes by 31 runs. Meantime, the Adelaide Strikers women will get their chance against the Sydney Sixers in a T20 match later today, hoping to bounce back after a first-up loss against the Brisbane Heat. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now the FIVEAA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automaster's technician.
Sunny and 25 today. Tomorrow sunny 27. Thursday mostly sunny 24. Friday mostly sunny 23. Currently it's 9. More news as it happens on FIVEAA.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range. Petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes to 7. The Advertiser ran a competition to determine who's growing SA's best roses. We thought we need to catch up with the winner and talk about this endeavour, this feat. A retired nurse moved to Queensland, back to Adelaide, won the comp. Looking forward to chatting with Sandy in about 15 minutes' time.
We're lucky with the climate in SA, absolutely perfect for growing roses. And I reckon it's one of those things, it's like eating oysters. I reckon as a gardener, you're either into roses or you're not into roses. Because people who are rose gardeners often just go the whole hog. I suppose roses make a nice feature plant in a cottage-style garden. Like a climbing rose looks really good against a brick
But there are lots
wall.
of gardeners that hate roses for some reason too.
Well, I don't hate them. I can see their beauty, but I've got none in the garden, not one.
You're a cactus man.
Well,
a succulent man.
natives. Yeah, sort of natives, and then down the side, semi-tropical because of the shade for bromeliads.
We'll be talking more about roses this half hour. Police and weather coming up as well. Have you ever wondered if you had to run for high office, whatever it might well be, who would you like to have endorsing you? What celebrity would you like to have coming along saying, this is my man or woman? Who would you have? Because Donald Trump had the big rally in Manhattan and wheeled out the Hulk.
I don't see no stinking domestic terrorists in here. The only thing I see in here are a bunch of hard-working men and women that are real Americans, brother.
That's Hulk Hogan speak at the Republican rally that was taking place at Madison Square Garden in New York.
Would have been
Huge
great.
crowd there.
It was massive.
Unbelievable.
It was absolutely massive. And Trump has, I think, what is always a tactical advantage for any politician, regardless of whether you agree with them or not. He looks like he's having more fun than Kamala. Kamala looks kind of forced. And she's surrounded by people who are desperately hoping that everything pans out according to their worldview. But Trump just seems to attract people who look like, I mean, a lot of them look like they're barking mad, but a lot of them just look really happy, and Trump himself looks happy. Although watching it last night, I watched half an hour of Fox News. My God, those people, they could, if there was a Walkley Award for utterly craven and fawning journalism, they are in full suck mode at the moment, doing everything they can to get him over the line. Different story at CNN where it's all hangdog expressions every time Trump comes on, and you know, Kamala's bathed in rays of golden light over there on CNN and NBC. But I had this weird thought: what if Trump's peaked too early?
2 weeks out, you think?
Well, he looks like he's won it. He's acting like he's won it. He's acting like he's won it, and there's a lot of Americans who will see Hulk Hogan on their television and go, what is wrong with our country?
Do you think a lot of Americans think like that, or is that how a lot of Australians think about it?
No, I think a lot of Americans do think like that. There's a lot of quiet Americans who go, my God, this is ridiculous. So what happens if they all get off the couch?
Well, that we'll find out in 2 weeks' time.
Because it looks like a done deal now.
Who would you have endorsing you, folks? 8223000. You can pick any figure.
Pick, apart from Ayn Rand.
Ayn Rand and Javier Milei.
Javier Milei, yeah. What one, Mr. Goodings? Here, numero uno. I like Anthony Bourdain to say vote for Pembo.
Oh, that's a good one. Anthony, I thought you were going to say Rick Davies, but I think
Rick Davies.
But I figure your answer to all these is Rick Davies.
I'm not right-wing enough for Rick Davies to endorse me.
Yeah, you might match up with Anthony Bourdain. Hey, we've got...
well, he's no longer with us, tragically.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, very sad. Now, we have some food and beverage vouchers to give away. Taste the flavours of Asia at the Lucky Dumpling Market. It started last weekend, runs through till November 10. Visit luckydumplingmarket.com. What we've got for you, some drink and food vouchers from Matsuri Japanese Street Food, Suki Lala, and Nancho Man. Who would you have endorsing you? It's crazy. What celebrity? Who would it be? Doesn't matter if it's realistic or from history, whatever it might well be. Mark, good morning to you.
Good morning, David and William. How are you?
Good, thank you, Mark.
Good. I'd have Eddie Maguire.
Yeah, that'd carry some weight.
Ed he'd be a good spruiker at a rally too.
Yeah.
He'd get people fired up. I don't
would.
mind that, Mark. That's a good one. A few Dutton's texts coming through. Whitten says he wants the 5AA breakfast team to endorse him.
We'll do that. Vote one Quentin.
We could do that.
Now, Macca from Norwood casting nasturtiums in my direction. That was a deliberate mispronunciation. Macca's... That's not the Macca, is it? Anyway, if it is, I'll tell you what.
We salute you.
We salute you, Gary. Macca says, while Albo was getting free flight upgrades, has anyone investigated if Pembo got free entry to Budgie Fest?
Good question.
I can answer that question in the affirmative. Yes, I did, but so did everyone else.
So
at least when I got there, I did some work.
Okay. I guess the Budgie people are getting a free run on 5AA breakfast from now and then.
Did you see that Budgie banana?
Unbelievable.
He's a rock star.
Darcy, good morning.
Good morning. I'd have Gordon Ramsay so then he can rip into all the no voters.
What are you? You're an idiot sandwich.
Good on you, Darcy.
Gordon Ramsay should run the planet.
Have you seen...
He's the master of just totally valid, blunt feedback. You got no idea what you're doing. And, well, you can't do a Gordon Ramsay impersonation on a family radio station.
Have you seen people on social media send Gordon Ramsay videos of them cooking and he rips it apart on Instagram? These shocking meals. And he just seems horrified. It's high comedy.
It's amazing that he never gets belted by people doing those kitchen nightmare shows. Because he just gives it to them.
Maybe you know what you're in for. Pete and Findon, good morning.
Hey boys, how are you?
Good, thanks, Pete.
I know this isn't possible, but if it was, the old school Bob Francis.
Oh, get Bob to give you an endorsement.
You'd win. You'd win. He'd scare everyone off.
I think that's right, Pete. Be full of florid language as well, knowing good old Bob.
I like Rob's idea, old style Molly Meldrum endorsement, to do yourself a favour and vote for Rob.
He's got a catchphrase that fits the bill as well.
Adrian says he'd like Dennis Denuto from The Castle to endorse him. Jim from Golden Grove wants Duffman from The Simpsons. Oh, Duffman. Excellent.
Who do we like for the Lucky Dumpling food and drink vouchers?
Let's give it to Darcy.
All right, Darcy, you've got it coming your way. You can get down to the Lucky Dumpling Market right through until the 10th of November. I love it. The food at this thing is so good. I love going there. Visit luckydumplingmarket.com if you'd like to get some more information.
You know, there's a winery / brewery down near Wollonga, up the hill, heading down sort of in the Maipongali direction, called Barbar. Barbar? Well, no, what's it called? Something Hills. It's just the best because the bloke who owns it is like a sheep farmer, but in his spare time he makes his own beer, Barbar beer, which is absolutely terrific. But his wife has a Chinese background, and she makes these amazing dumplings. And you can just rock up at the winery because they make wine as well. They make all these reds, and this is the best plug ever. I can't remember what it's called.
No, that's all right. You can find it, and we'll make it into a tease. People stick around after the break if you'd like to learn more. Let's check traffic.
7 different types of dumplings, all of them excellent. 10 for $15.
Fantastic.
I don't know what it's called.
All right.
All must have had a good day there.
All will be revealed. Traffic first, then police and weather, and David will tell you.
Ashley Hills.
There you go.
Ashley Hills Estate.
Superb. Traffic.
Thanks, Will, and morning, David. Got a dirty great hole on the road to look out for this morning. Less than ideal. It's at Parafield Gardens. It's due to a previous burst water main, Salisbury Highway 11 to drive. A little bit slow for works, Golden Grove, the Grove Way near the Golden Way, and we've got works happening at the moment, just getting cleaned up from overnight. New bitumen went down South Road, Clovelly Park near Audi, so a bit slow on the way into the city. Cameras mostly in the hills today, Woodside Road, Nan, and Main Streets at Lopethal. Truckloads of new stock have just arrived at the Harvey Norman clearance stores, Marion and Jeffs Cross. Run out furniture, bedding, outdoor and more, priced to clear. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Everybody knows Right Price are the heating and cooling experts. So imagine how much you can save when they join forces with EcoVantage, the incentive experts. Together with Right Price, EcoVantage will help you source all the government incentives you're entitled to when it comes to heating and cooling your home, including energy-efficient heat pump hot water systems. Right Price and EcoVantage, the best of both worlds when it comes to heating, cooling and government incentives.
Right
Right Price, Adelaide's best in heating and cooling, has risen to new heights. Literally, Right Price are now your roofing people too. Same exceptional service, value and quality. From total roof replacement, including tiled roof installation, to tile roof repairs, cleaning and painting. And for peace of mind, a rock-solid quote. So the only surprise you'll get is how magnificent your roof and home looks. Do it right. Visit rightpriceroofing.com.au.
You can get your roof right at Right Price.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. National Tiles Trade Plus Club members now get even more savings both in time and money every day of the year, including massive trade discounts on tiles, glues, grouts and tools, free 2-hour express delivery, and supersized everyday discount on fuel at all Shell service stations, plus much more. So if you're a tiler looking to save money every week of the year, rush into National Tiles now and save.
Marina Pier is going all out this Melbourne Cup Day with a plethora of race day events planned. There's fabulous food, wine, giveaways, non-stop entertainment, live music, fashion shows, auctions, and of course, the big race. Check out all the venues that are in on the fun. Oyster Bar, Elenica, Seafire on the Marina, Luciano's on the Marina, The Wharf, and then make sure you head on down to Sunset Bar for the after party, with proceeds helping the Flinders Foundation raise money to support cancer care and research. Book now via their website.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
13 minutes to 7. We're talking roses very shortly, but first, let's talk about the weather. Mark Anilak on duty at the Bureau of Meteorology. Mark, good morning to you. Beautiful days, but we had a relatively cool start this morning.
Yeah, good morning. Currently sitting on about 8.8 degrees, a little bit cool, clear skies, but the rest of the day should be fine and sunny, and heading for a top of 25 degrees this afternoon, probably a degree and a half or 2 degrees warmer than yesterday. Tomorrow, another sunny day forecast, 27. A southerly wind change will come through on Thursday, making temperatures drop back to around 24 on Thursday and 23 on Friday, but dry conditions continuing right through the week. Even on Pageant Day Saturday, we're expecting a dry and warm start to the day on Saturday. So today, a sunny top of 25 degrees forecast.
Good stuff, Mark. That's fantastic. It's going to be a lovely week. Thank you.
All right, let's head to Safe Pulse. Senior Constable Matt Brown's on the line. Matt, a second person has died after that awful crash on Sunday.
That's right. Well, about 2:40 p.m. on Sunday, the 27th of October, emergency services were called to the Riddick Highway at Nangwarry in the state's southeast after reports of a 3-car crash. And one of the vehicles, a grey Toyota station wagon, 2 passengers from that car, a 5-year-old boy who was a passenger in the Toyota, died at the scene, but another passenger, a 15-year-old girl who was taken to hospital with critical injuries, tragically she died in hospital last night.
That's his sister, isn't it?
That's right. The deaths are the 71st and 72nd lives lost.
That poor family.
The 71st and 72nd lives lost on SA roads this year. And, of course, roads are reopened in the area. So tragic news there from the southeast.
Yeah, I'll say. There's been a break-in at Parafield Gardens too, Matt, where a man's been assaulted.
That's right. About 2:55 a.m. today, a man and woman were in their house in Fern Court when 3 men forced their way into the property and demanded money. One of the suspects was armed with a metal pole, and the male occupant tried to grab the pole from the man, and then he was stabbed in the right hand by one of the other suspects. The suspects then fled the scene, and the victim was taken to hospital for treatment. The suspect with metal pole was wearing dark clothing, and all 3 men had their faces concealed. But police believe the incident was not a random attack, and anyone who may have witnessed the incident is asked to call Crime Stoppers on 1-800-333 000.
And just lastly, Matt, a man's been arrested after a house fire at Paradise.
Yes, emergency services were called to a house in Leewood Road about 12:30 a.m. today after reports of a fire, and 2 men inside the property were able to escape the building without injury, and one of the occupants then left the scene before police arrived. So MFS crews were able to quickly extinguish the fire, which was contained to a single bedroom. There was significant damage caused to the room and smoke damage throughout the house. And following investigations, a 43-year-old man who lives at the property was arrested nearby and was charged with arson and acts likely to cause harm. He was refused bail and will appear in court today. So Eastern District CIB detectives and crime scene examiners will attend the scene this morning. So anyone who may have witnessed it, please contact Crime Stoppers on 1-800-333 000.
Good on you, Matt. Thanks for that. Senior Constable Matt Brown from Sapole.
10 minutes to 7.
So bad.
That's the worst story. That's obviously just developed this morning.
It's just that.
She'd been airlifted to hospital, the sister, and everyone was hoping for the best. It's
2 of their 4 children.
Just absolutely bloody devastating.
Yep.
Let's change tack, shall we? Let's talk about something everyone can get behind, and that is local excellence. Sandy Moisish was crowned the Advertiser's best rose grower in South Australia. We thought, well, we need to get Sandy on to hear her share her secrets. Sandy, good morning to you, and congratulations.
Good morning. Thank you very much. It was a bit of a shock, I tell you.
So, Sandy, how long have you been growing roses, and how did you get the rose growing bug?
I've always loved roses. They're probably my favourite flower. And we lived in Queensland for 20 years where it was almost impossible to grow them. So when we came back to Adelaide with the climate here, it just seemed perfect to give them a go. And my favourite rose is the Double Delight. So I bought 3 standard Double Delights from Virginia Nursery and put them in, and they've just gone mad.
So the Double Delight, it's a standard rose, which if I'm saying this for Will's benefit, it means it's like on a long stemmed trunk, isn't it? So it's got no foliage underneath. How tall do they get? How big do they get?
They grow to about 6 feet or 5 feet, I would say.
What's the secret, Sandy, to caring for the perfect rose?
I don't know. I volunteer at the International Rose Garden in the Botanic Gardens on Friday mornings. And a lot of the people who work at the Rose, who are members of the Rose Society, are there. And I get lots of clues from them as to what to feed them and make sure that I cut off any dead heads so that they will bloom again. That's a really important thing about roses.
Hey, Sandy, when you prune a rose, I've heard people say you can basically get your hedge trimmers and effectively run left to right, cut the bush in half. Is that true, or do you need to be actually much more prudent and targeted when you do it?
Well, I'm much more prudent. I can't imagine seeing a rose. You know, those roses that grow close to the ground that they use sort of as a ground cover. I can understand that the shears would do well there, but I can't imagine doing that to any of my standards.
How many roses do you have in your garden, Sandy?
I have 5.
5? Is that what? Only 5 plants?
Yeah, so I'm in a very, very small backyard, and I've got 3 in the backyard and 2 in the front.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do you, having conquered the rose world in South Australia, Sandy, do you think it'll branch out and grow some more award-winning plants, or are you a rose specialist?
I love roses, and I love hibiscus, and I love anything that flowers. So in a small garden, all I can do really is to put as many flowering things as I can in. But the standard roses, they're my pride and joy. I just love them.
And you're right about the climate, Sandy, because if you try to grow them in tropical places, they get black spots on them and stuff, don't they?
Well, they do here too, but there's so much humidity where we were on the Gold Coast that you've just got to watch them, and nothing grew in the ground. I had to have them all in pots up there.
Yeah, right. Well, congratulations,
Absolutely.
Sandy. That's
Thank you.
That's a terrific win. Did they give you a nice prize?
Well, no. I think it's just the kudos.
Yeah, you've got the kudos,
the bragging rights.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, Sandy, we understand you've got a tea time to make. Playing golf this morning.
I have, yes, at 7 o'clock, and it must be about that now.
Yes,
5-2. Where are you playing, Sandy? Do you mind me asking?
I'm at Grange.
Oh, lovely. Beautiful.
Yeah, we're Live Golf is. Are you coming to Live Golf next year?
Yeah, we'll be there. I definitely will. I love it. It's great. I've never played at Grange. I'm too poor a golfer to be admitted to such a good course. Last time I played was at North Haven, but I might see you.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, North Haven. Is that still going?
Yeah, it's good. It's good for an enthusiastic amateur. You sound much more professional, Sandy. Well, look, good on you, Sandy. Have a good round too.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What a legend. Sandy Moisish, the Advertiser's winner for South Australia's best rose grower, and Wonderful golfer as well in her own right. Getting her out at great
You know what I
golf
loved
course.
about the interview? It had the Sandy was excellent, but she had the tone of someone who had something better to do than talk to us two half-wits.
Well,
It's like,
a bit of behind the scenes.
Let's get this show on the road.
Bit of behind the scenes. She had told Sam Dado, our producer, now, I've got a hard 6:58 out time because I've got a tea time to
There's
make.
4 people behind
And we
me.
wanted to honour that. We appreciate
That was
that. That's fine.
That was good. Get some nice monosyllabic answers
We-
towards the end there.
We can work around
Didn't
golf
win anything.
enthusiasts.
Okay.
Sandy was great. That was terrific.
No nonsense.
Should we do a couple of Dutton's texts before we get to the break? Dutton's car dealerships in the Adelaide Hills and Murray Bridge. Dutton's easy to do business with.
Steve from Golden Grove says, Dave, I'm going to assume you haven't watched any Trump rallies because they're generally filled with vitriol and a constant reminder of how crap America is. And Kamala's rallies are about uplifting America. Why do people who love either Harris or Trump so much make the fatal error of assuming that you and I actually give a you-know-what about this?
It's an interesting political event, but yeah.
I'm not handing out for either of them.
No, absolutely not.
I know who I'd be voting for if I was there.
Yeah.
The person who is more likely to observe the actual results.
What a quaint concept.
Yeah.
See, I think at his rallies, I think Trump is exceptionally funny. I found that comedian who yesterday, that joke about Puerto Rico being a steaming pile of garbage in the middle of the ocean.
Hmm.
What
the hell was that?
What's that about?
Yeah. Hey, Terry, talking about endorsements, he wants Rupert Murdoch to endorse him.
There you go, Terry.
We'll put a word in for you.
Terry, you've texted it in, and it's gone up to the man himself.
That's right. I'll have a voice later in the show. Hey, Terry, good on you.
588 News is coming up. Keep your texts
Probably
coming in.
Impersonate the boss.
No, it's not a career advancing move, I wouldn't have thought, but you've worked in the
mind.
business longer than I have.
He wouldn't mind.
0448081395. You can call us on 8223 or jump on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. You can watch along and also share your thoughts there. Our news wrap of the morning featuring more on this brouhaha regarding the Prime Minister and his Qantas flight upgrade requests is coming up. So if you've got some thoughts on that, you can share them. Phil Curry will have his. And I don't know, it might just feature in our jury trial this morning. That's all ahead.
Hello, my name's Thelma and I'm here with Deb from St Louis Home Care.
Hi Thelma.
Deb and the staff from St Louis Home Care always welcome me with a lovely warm smile and more than that.
Yes Thelma, our friendly team provides services like cleaning, shopping and personal care. It's all about supporting you to live longer at home.
Oh, it's lovely. Where I want to be. At St Louis, you really are part of our family.
Join Thelma and Deb. Google St Louis Home Care today.
The Indigenous Round is back for the 2024 NAB AFLW season, celebrating Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander football trailblazers. Tickets are just $15 and under 18s are free. Whether you're with family, friends or flying solo, everyone's welcome at the W. Join us across weeks 9 and 10 of the W. Visit women's.afl to get your tickets today. See you at the W Indigenous Round.
I'll see you at the W. Yeah.
Spirit strong, game on.
Are you doing enough to grow your wealth? Are your superannuation and investments working as well as they should? Jackie from Guardian Wealth Solutions will work closely with you to help make sense of your super and create a roadmap for your financial future. She'll look at everything from your contributions and investment choices to strategies to minimising tax and fees. Instead of hoping for the best, you'll know you're on track to achieve the retirement lifestyle you want. GuardianWealthSolutions.com.au.
Parties, weddings, big events. What do they all have in common? Pals. You know your pals want to have a good time, but what will everyone want to drink? That's when you need to speak to Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals will make sure you've got the right type of drinks, the right amount, and best of all, we'll make sure you've got the best labels that will keep everyone talking about your event. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals. Next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
The latest local, national and international news for South Australia. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Sunny and 25 today with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Graham Goodings.
Make RAA approved windscreen repairer Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. Visit completewindscreens.com.au.
A second child has died after Sunday's horrific crash in the state's southeast. About 2:40 p.m, emergency services were called to Nangwarry after an emu caused a multi-car crash. Senior Constable Matt Brown telling David and Will it was a teenage girl who has now died.
One of the vehicles, a grey Toyota station wagon, 2 passengers from that car, a 5-year-old boy who died at the scene, but another passenger, a 15-year-old girl who was taken to hospital with critical injuries. Tragically, she died in hospital last night.
That's his sister, isn't it?
That's right.
House prices in Adelaide have grown faster than any other capital city. Prices here gained another 4.2% ahead of 3.1% in Perth and 1.5% in Brisbane in the September quarter. According to the latest Domain analysis, everything is pointing to a slowdown in the housing market, shifting in favour of buyers. Emirates has returned to SA skies. Mel Usher has the details.
Adelaide-Dubai flights are officially back. After pulling out of SA in 2020 during the pandemic, the carrier has relaunched daily flights between here and the UAE, which many use as a gateway to Europe. The first 777 from Dubai touched down shortly before 9 last night, the return journey leaving 2 hours later. Reinstating direct daily Emirates flights into Adelaide is expected to generate more than $62 million in tourism expenditure, as well as more jobs in the industry. Each flight will also offer 14 tonnes of cargo space.
The Prime Minister and former Qantas boss Alan Joyce are under pressure to explain their working relationship in front of a Senate inquiry. There's suggestions Anthony Albanese has received at least 24 flight upgrades and gifts from the airline since 2010. National Senator Bridget McKenzie is told today there are plenty of questions that need to be answered.
I think people are rightly furious about this. There's a difference to receive a gift and declare it to actually getting on the blower and saying, listen, mate, the missus and I are going overseas. How about upgrading those economy tickets? That's what's happened when he's the minister regulating the aviation sector.
Julia Gillard's legacy as Australia's first female Prime Minister is being recognised by the University of Adelaide. The Julia Gillard Prime Ministerial Library will be established at the university, where she began her political career. A collection of documents from Ms Gillard's career will be brought from the National Archives of Australia to the new library, which is expected to open in 2027. Matthew Perry's family has opened up on their grief a year since the Friends actor's death. US correspondent Jonathan Kersley has more.
Matthew Perry was known as the lovable character Chandler Bing on the hit TV sitcom Friends. A year ago, he was found dead at his California home. Now his mother, stepfather and sisters have spoken with NBC's Today program. His mother, Suzanne, says the grief will never go away.
You've got to stop blaming yourself.
The actor had a long battle with addiction and was using ketamine treatments at the time of his death. A number of people have been charged and are before the courts.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
Tom Wren, the Matildas are back.
Yeah, good to see they're winning again, isn't it, Graham? They've been struggling a bit of late, but a Claire Hunt header has helped the Matildas to a 2-1 upset victory over Germany. That was in their international friendly this morning. But it was midfielder Kyra Cooney-Cross who dominates the highlight reel, scoring an equalising goal just before half-time. The Arsenal star picking up the ball, scoring a screamer from the edge of the centre circle, as heard on Paramount+.
Cooney-Cross is going to shoot from distance. Incredible! Australia are level! And it's Kyra Cooney-Cross for the first time in Matilda's colours, scoring for her country.
And a memorable one there too. Meantime, Manchester United has finally lost patience with Erik ten Hag, sacking him as manager. He was in charge of the club for 2.5 years and did manage to win an FA Cup and League Cup, but the club is battling in 14th place on the English Premier League table. That's after 9 games this season, prompting the change. Well, Melbourne Cup Carnival hopefuls are taking part in track work at Flemington this morning, including several trained by Chris Waller. Waller says they expect to make a final call on whether Via Sistina takes part in the big race in the next couple of days.
We've started discussions going through everything, absolutely everything. There's so many things to consider, from firstly her welfare and well-being, and secondly where we think she can run up to her best so people can see her repeat that performance of Saturday, and where her future lies, what path we need to take to reach that.
And some of Australia's men's Test cricket stars have been left out of the squad for the upcoming T20 series against Pakistan. That's in the lead-up to the Test series against India. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Do you need pragmatic and relevant commercial legal advice? Contact JFL and Smith Lawyers, nationally recognised local specialists.
Morning there, got a hole in the road getting fixed up at the moment, so it's causing a few headaches for the drive-in. This one's at Parafield Gardens. It's due to a burst water main. Salisbury Highway near Lavender Drive. We are slow already. Jeps Cross for works, Main North Road near Matthews Road. Getting busy South Road at Mile End, a little bit slow Marion Road at the Anzac Highway intersection. And look out for cameras in the hills this morning. Main Streets, Lobethal and Nan Road at Woodside. Are you ready to make every step count? Sign up at 10,000steps.org.au/SA Billion Steps for the Billion Steps Challenge starting November 1. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Sunny days ahead. Sunny and 25 today. Tomorrow, sunny 27. Thursday, mostly sunny 24. Friday, mostly sunny 23. Currently, it's 10. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Stay informed, get involved. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range. Petrol and diesel vehicles, T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 after 7, beautiful morning out there, if not a little cool, heading for a spectacular day. Spectacular runner days too. If you're looking at the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, look at the sun beaming over the hills this morning into the city. It's a magnificent time of year, this, I think. We're just sort of almost the peak doing things.
We haven't had the
weather time.
We haven't had the big spring winds that we often get either. We've had a few windy days, but nothing too bad. Very still.
No. Perfect flying conditions, you might well say. Shall we? We've got a news wrap this morning that's full of stories about aircraft. One of them is good news for Adelaide. One of them is bad news for the Prime Minister. Let's start with that one because the opposition's announced they're going to pursue this question of Anthony Albanese's Qantas flight upgrades in Senate estimates last week. I suspect they'll be looking for any opportunity to try and kick this story along because it is, by any measure, a damaging one for the Prime Minister personally. He has, since 2010, that is, Anthony Albanese, received at least 24 flight upgrades and gifts from Qantas. That includes a Qantas Lifetime Platinum membership. This all comes about as a result of a book that's been written by Joe Aston, who wrote for a long time from the Fin Review about the dealings of Qantas.
Joe Aston, maniac gossip columnist. The kind of guy, if you're editing a paper, he'd be one of your first picks because he just, no fear, no favour, just goes hard. And he made Alan Joyce's life absolute hell as CEO, and now Albo has become collateral damage as part of his work on Qantas.
Now, what's become clear in the last 3 days is that basically no one's beak is clean when it comes to a relationship with Qantas. Peter Dutton's had flight upgrades. Adam Bant has had flight upgrades. They've all received preferential treatment from Qantas. The reason that the Prime Minister has got a particularly difficult case to answer is most of his happened whilst he was the Transport Minister, and as detailed in the book, the Chairman's Lounge, while other Qantas executives, I quote, could authorise space available upgrades in flight bookings, only Joyce could issue confirmed or guaranteed upgrades, the kind that Anthony Albanese was treated to. According to the book, Anthony Albanese had a direct line to Alan Joyce and would request these upgrades whilst Transport Minister. Just want to underscore that point. It raises a heap of questions now about the decision-making during his tenure as the Transport Minister and Prime Minister, most notably in recent years, the decision to block Qatar Airways from expanding into Australia. It invites all that kind of speculation. I mean, just the brazenness of it. I can't think of an equivalent case with someone in their portfolio area.
You know what I find strange about it? I think that a lot of people would stop short, even if they thought, geez, it'd be nice to get an upgrade. I reckon most people would think it would be too embarrassing to ask for one.
Mm.
You know, it's just sort of no. I'm right. I don't need an upgrade. Like, you know, because this is where like the Dutton example went, and I'll even say in Adam Bant's case. I mean, these people claim to loathe capitalism. They like its trappings at the higher end, but setting that little element aside, if you get an upgrade, okay, you get an upgrade. It's still a benefit that the average Joe Schmo out there is not in their wildest dreams are they ever going to get an upgrade. But to take the next step of ringing the CEO asking for one, on top of what about all the other things he got? Like, an iPad, a fully stocked 747 bar cart, a Neil Perry cookbook, tickets on the inaugural Perth to London non-stop flight, flight upgrades to and from Singapore, London, Rome and Honolulu. Now, a lot of these off the back of a phone call. It's the phone call that's
the phone calls
the issue.
Well, it speaks to what would seem to be an inappropriately close relationship between the minister and the CEO of the private operator.
Well, how do we know? And this is why it's valid that the Prime Minister's asked about this. How do we know that in the course of these many conversations with Alan Joyce, there wasn't one that was along the lines of, Anthony, this whole Qatar thing, this would create all sorts of problems for jobs or, there would have been direct lobbying going on about issues that affected the cost of flights more broadly for everybody else, the level of competition in the industry. These are things that affect when you go and, watch a Port final in Melbourne. Things like this can actually affect how much you pay for your ticket. And it all comes around from the clubby sort of bromance nature of their friendship.
The politicians weighing on this cloud what is the central issue that we've just talked about. You'll understand when you have a listen. For example, here's David Littleproud.
Come out and disclose exactly what happened. And if he didn't declare it on his pecuniary interest, why not? And I think that's a reasonable question to ask, considering the significant decisions that this government's made around airfares and airlines in this country.
Now, as I understand it, he declared all of it. The upgrade...
But not the phone call part.
He did, no, well, I don't think there's no means by which, the process by which you can declare the process. All you can declare is the end result. And I think he was consistent with his parliamentary obligations on that front. And then there's deliberate obfuscation from the other side as well. I've listened to Bill Shorten yesterday.
If you're sort of suggesting a transport minister shouldn't catch aeroplanes and instead should hitchhike up the Hume Highway, I don't think that's realistic.
I don't think that's what anyone's suggesting, Minister Shorten.
That's right.
But they're both having their whack at it.
What's weird is, so in Aston's book, my understanding is that, he's got Qantas insiders saying all of this. Well, if it's an unsourced allegation coming from someone in Qantas who said this to Joe Aston, the first thing is books get legaled more stringently than newspaper articles do, because the last thing you want to do is get something wrong in a book and pulp your entire print run of 30,000 books and make $0. Like, pulping a book is absolute disaster for publishing houses. Even writing Kane Corn's biography, we had to get the whole thing legaled to make sure Will Minson didn't sue him.
And they're publishers. They're not...
Yeah. So they cross every T, dot every I. So the book has come out. Clearly the publishers are standing by the allegations. What matters is, if these phone calls didn't happen, easy. Prime Minister just come out and deny it. So it's not true. It's simply not true.
It hasn't happened yet, has it?
No. Which suggests either sloth on the Prime Minister's office's part, or they can't deny it.
Andrew's called in on this. Morning to you, Andrew.
G'day. G'day, David. G'day, Will. David, Albo runs on the line that he's a true believer. Well, I'll quote the ultimate true believer, Ben Chifley. You wouldn't see Ben Chifley ringing up anybody like this. And in fact, if you read up about him, he didn't even have a car driver until he had a heart attack.
Right?
The light on the hill. Albo needs to go down to 10 Busby Street, Bathurst. I'm sure David knows the address. And go and have a look how a humble Prime Minister lived in this country. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah, good call, Andrew. Good on you, mate. Former New South Wales Premier Barry Unsworth always caught the bus everywhere. He said, I need to stay in touch with people. I'm not getting around in a car. I think even after he was Premier, he didn't want a driver. He just catches the bus.
Wow.
That's pretty rare, isn't it?
That is great. 15 after 7, we're going to talk about Emirates shortly. Bretton Cox from the Adelaide Airport is going to join us to talk about what is reportedly some 100 and $50 million plus investment in the South Australian economy by virtue of the people that come here and indeed the job creation from Emirates returning direct flights to Adelaide for the first time since March 2020. So it's been more than 4 years, but they always said they'd come back, and they have. We'll talk about that after the break. I want to introduce you to a new listening opportunity for fans of Michael Parkinson first, though, that may interest you or it may creep you out.
Good morning to listeners of the Today programme and actually all the listeners of BBC Radio 4. This is Michael Parkinson, or at least a version of me in this rather curious AI form. Now, I'll be honest with you, I haven't the foggiest idea how any of this technology actually works, but I must say I'm excited by it all. I know some of you might find the idea of an AI me a bit odd, but the team at Deep Fusion and my son Mike know what they're doing. I think this new podcast might just surprise a few people when it's released, but don't let that stop you from giving Jamie and Mike a good grilling. They can handle it. Anyway, thank you for taking an interest, and I hope you'll enjoy what's to come.
It's Virtually Parkinson, produced by Deep Fusion Films with the backing of Sir Michael's family and estate, an 8-episode series. We'll see Parkinson, who most people are aware passed away last year at the age of 88, interview a bunch of new guests.
Are they also AI fakes from
No, the
yesteryear?
guests are real people. He'll ask them the questions and they'll speak to the AI Michael Parkinson. His son is a big supporter of this, big backer of this, and
it does sound exactly like him.
It's uncanny, and he's talked a little bit how it works and indeed the controversy around it on the BBC.
I have always, because I worked with my father for 20 odd years, I've always had a very easy way of separating the man that put on the suit and walked down the stairs, which I referred to as Michael, and my father who walked down the stairs in his dressing gown, which was a very different man. He was my father. The only time sometimes when it actually draws me up is when he uses my name, which is, it's strange. It has a sort of slight, something fires off in the brain. But other than that, it is, I think, extraordinary what they've achieved, because I didn't really think it was going to be as accurate as that. And what also, I had a very brief conversation with Jamie outside, and he mentioned something, because they're just working with it. And apparently the great thing about this AI is it listens. It really listens, which is extraordinary given the fact that's exactly what my father's motif was.
Now, it comes up with its own questions.
It's extraordinary.
It's not someone who's typed a Michael Parkinson-esque question into the Michael Parkinson voice generator. It'll interact. Theoretically. Now, I don't know how successful this will be.
Say it's interviewing Gordon Ramsay. So in the background of the interview, is it going, okay, where did Gordon Ramsay get his start? So is it doing like Google searches to find out everything it can about Gordon Ramsay, and then based on what Ramsay says, like if Ramsay says, well, I started working at, I don't know, the River Cafe, and he says, oh, I had one of the toughest chefs in my career, would it then do a scramble and go, okay, who are the toughest chefs you've ever... Like, can it think on the fly?
I'm not sure if it would do that, or it would just emulate a Parkinson follow-up question. When someone says something about their life, he would often follow up with a, and how did that person make you feel? Or was that good for you?
I tell you what,
I'm not sure.
We'd better make hay while the sun shines, because... the bean counters in Sydney are listening.
Well, Parky might be hosting breakfast next year.
Well, I mean, we're seeing the trend at other radio stations of interstate programs taking over SA-based ones. Maybe the long-term plan is, why do we need presenters at all?
Well,
we've got this computer program.
I think this is an interesting tidbit with a guy in Michael Parkinson who's recognisable right around the world. But I didn't think we'd be here in October of 2024 talking about someone who died releasing a brand new podcast that's able to interview guests who are alive today about their story. If it works, I don't know what it does to the industry. I don't know what it does to media and entertainment. It feels like a significant moment. The other question is, does anyone want to listen to that?
See, the thing is, I don't want to listen to it.
No.
Because I know it's fake. So, I'm out.
I wonder if anyone does. Let us know. 0480 1395. The Dutton's text line. Dutton's car dealerships in the Adelaide Hills and Murray Bridge. They're easy to do business with. We're going to talk about the return of Emirates after the break. Brenton Cox from Adelaide Airport is going to join us. First, traffic.
Thanks, Will. Big hole in the road getting fixed at the moment at Parafield Gardens, causing a few delays, as you'd expect. This from a previous burst water main, Salisbury Highway near Lavender Drive. Work to Glenelg North to look out for today. Tapley's Hill Road near St Anne's Terrace. Bit slow, South Road Tonsley as you get off the Southern Expressway. Got some new works there, so speeds at 40. And cameras, you find them in the hills today. Springs Road, Mount Barker, and Ridge Road at Lobethal. The time is now at Mercedes-Benz. Enjoy savings across the range, including Mercedes AMG and all electric models. Visit your nearest retailer or shop online today. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
My mum has a passbook account. She's with ANZ. The branch she used to go to, sorry, no more cash. So you now go to the city branch. You can't get a park within Cooey of the building to start with. And when you do get in there, it's usually a queue of 5, 6, 7 people waiting for the one teller.
Matthew Pantelis.
There could not be a better example of an organisation saying to its customers, we actually hate you.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Hi, Daniel Talia here, General Manager of Home. That's HAUME. If you're thinking about selling your home and it's in our price range, we'll buy it. Forget spending thousands getting your home ready for sale. We'll offer you market value right now. And the settlement can be up to 12 months if you like, which gives you loads of flexibility. That's how easy it is. To get in touch with us today, visit home.com.au and remember HAUME.com.au. At Home, we buy homes.
If the bank's declined your business loan, no worries. Universal Finance make business loans easy. No financials required. Unsecured business loans and business overdrafts. Universal Finance can help your business now. For lightning fast settlement, sometimes in just a matter of hours. See Universal Finance in Kent Town today. Or search Universal Finance right now. This is general advice only, and you should consider the terms and conditions before determining whether this advice is suitable for your situation.
Now, everyone needs to listen very carefully to what we're about to say. If you're living alone, now, regardless of age too, you should have a Care Alert smart dialer protecting you while at home, and that's especially important if you're older.
Now, what about this? I'm just going to read this out. One of our listeners, Rob Hutton, he did a sound off and he won a Care Alert smart dialer. So he wrote to Mike Steele saying, thank you for donating the prize. I'm delighted with the product. I had open heart surgery in 2020 and have been in good health ever since. Your product gives me peace of mind knowing that in the event of an accident or a medical emergency, simply by pushing a button on the pendant, help will be on the way. We almost don't need to do the rest of the ad. Yeah. Anyway, Care Alert Smart Dialer. It's an easy-to-use emergency alert system for the home, perfect for the elderly. And when you need it, it'll send instant notifications to family and friends, or you can get 24/7 monitoring.
In a recent survey, over 75% of 2,000 elderly people said that a personal alert system was the single most important device that would help keep them staying longer in their own home. And it makes sense if you think about it, because it's like having your own guard consistently protecting you.
Now, these great devices could be free through My Aged Care or NDIS, or even through the state government. So to learn more, visit carealert.com.au or give them a call on 1300 75 85 95.
Now, let's see what's in the swear jar at Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. Oh, wrong swear jar. This is it. From Martin the Tiler, affectionately known as Millimeter Martin. He swears you'll love his millimeter-perfect craftsmanship. And here's one from Rick the Plumber. Rick swears to always clean up after himself, guaranteed. For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range. Petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes after 7, big news. Last night, the first flight from Adelaide Airport of the return international airline Emirates left the airport. They left Adelaide in March 2020 during COVID, but have returned. The expectation is that the return will generate more than $62 million per year, create 315 full-time equivalent tourism-related jobs for South Australians. The value of freight exports, this is something we don't talk about too often, $98 million, and that gives you that sum of $160 million of economic benefit to South Australia. If that is realised, it's unequivocally a good news story. Brenton Cox is the Managing Director at Adelaide Airport and joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Brenton, you must be delighted that Emirates have returned.
We are absolutely pumped. I tell you what, this is big for us and big for the tourism industry and education industry and those exporters. So it's a daily flight as well. So it's brilliant to have them back, connecting us to the world again with a daily 777. And it was just beautiful watching it on the tarmac last night.
Yeah, no, it's great news, and I know a lot of people have flown with that airline, regard it very highly. Brenton, are we any closer to hearing from Qantas about whether they're going to have international flights, particularly given that I saw the other day there's now a direct Brisbane-Dallas flight that Qantas is offering? What are we, chopped liver here in South Australia?
They're getting a bit exotic, aren't they? And look, I don't know, I'll be so excited the minute that comes up. I think you'll be the first to know about it, but it's just, again, the aircraft type, they just haven't got it right for Adelaide. Brisbane, it's not just Brisbane, Queensland's is a significant market that feeds through Brisbane, and we just haven't quite got the scale to get their attention for the bigger aircraft yet. So they've actually got some smaller ones with hopefully our names on it, but they're still a few years off. We'll keep pushing though.
How close does the return of Emirates and the potential of Qantas down the line somewhere, hopefully, Brenton, bring us to capacity? How many more of these sort of regular flights from big carriers internationally can we take?
Look, we're pretty greedy, so we just try to build ahead of the curve, and we know we're already underserved, Adelaide. We've traditionally been a domestic feeder market, so we have a lot more potential for all those people that are having to go indirect that we deserve direct. So we've got a lot further to go. In fact, we've got a little bit of an econometric. I can't even use the words. It feels like quack science. It might be the same people that did those GDP and employment forecasts. But we deserve a good another sort of 3 or 4 destinations over the next 5 to 10 years. But one thing just on Qantas, actually worth saying. Qantas frequent flyers can book on Emirates. They've got a really special joint venture tied up, so you can earn and burn Qantas frequent flyer points on the Emirates metal if you book with a Qantas code.
Hey Brett, while we're talking, our airport looks good. It looks really good, and I know, like, every time not that I fly much at all anymore, but whenever I go to Sydney, I just think I'm always happy to be in Sydney. But I look at that airport and I go, this place looks like it's been put together by a bunch of mates with leftover building materials. But Adelaide's airport's managing to grow, and as it grows, look even better. It's a really nicely designed space.
Our brand's seamless, connected and easy, and our architects and our planning designer teams, they live and breathe that from the moment something's conceived. And we give it a red hot go. We've actually got a ton more work coming. There's a lot more capacity we want to build to take all these flights. So when that happens, it can get a bit tricky. And as long as people can sort of see the vision on the other side, and hopefully, I've seen you boys down where the Virgin side of things, where our latest sort of terminal development, that once you get through that build, that we make sure that it's it's slick on the other side.
Any truth in the room? You've had a call today from Albo asking if he can go on one of these Emirates flights.
I'm not a quick comment.
Now that Alan's no longer in Australia. Hey, always great to chat to you, Brenton Cox, Managing Director of the Adelaide Airport. Thanks for that, mate.
Thanks for having me. Thank you. Bye.
He's technically like an officer of the Crown, isn't he? The airports, corporations, like, are they under government control, or are they privately owned now?
Well, no, I think they're privately owned now.
Yeah, no, they are. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's just one of those things. Best not to answer questions, even if they're clearly fabricated gags.
You'd believe anything at the moment. 29 after 7. 5AA News is coming up. We're going to talk more about this and get Phil Curry's take from the Fin Review next.
Summer's on the way. Beat the rush and organise your Walco pool blanket now. Keep your pool clean, warm and reduce evaporation. Uncover the savings with a Walco pool blanket. Visit walco.com.au.
Right now, there's never been a better time to buy a new forklift from Toyota Material Handling. Choose from Toyota's massive range, famous for legendary reliability and safety. Plus, enjoy a low finance rate from just 2.9% on Toyota's 8 FBRE Reach forklifts and SWE 120S walkie stackers currently in stock. Hurry, limited time only. See the Toyota forklifts range at toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Get a Toyota Forklift. Approved business applicants only. Terms, conditions, fees and charges apply. Maximum term is 48 months. Offer ends 28 Feb 2025.
With a Westpac home loan package, not only is all your banking in one place, but you'll also save over $5,000 on interest charges in the first year alone that you can spend on whatever you like. I could finally get a parrot. Or maybe not. Search Westpac home loan packages today. Credit criteria, T's and C's, fees, charges and $395 annual package fee apply. Based on a $400k Rocket Repay variable rate home loan standard package discount. Visit westpac.com.au/packages.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 25 today. With the 7:30 news, I'm Graham Goodings.
Chipped windscreen? RAA approved repairer Complete Windscreens repairs it from just $99. Find the big red koala.
A second child has died following a crash in the state southeast on Sunday. A 5-year-old boy died at the scene of the 3-car crash on the Riddick Highway. Another passenger in the same car, a 15-year-old girl, was taken to hospital with critical injuries. However, she died in hospital last night. While house price rises are slowing nationally, prices in Adelaide grew faster than any other capital city in the September quarter. Prices here gained another 4.2%, ahead of 3.1% in Perth. According to the latest Domain analysis, everything is pointing to a slowdown in the housing market, shifting in favour of buyers. Chief of Research Dr Nicola Powell is hopeful as supply rises, house prices could drop.
Supply is rising, which means there is more choice for buyers. What we've got is a strong flow of new listings coming onto the market, and that just hasn't been met by a higher level of buyer demand.
Emirates is back in South Australian skies. After pulling out of SA in 2020 when COVID hit, the carrier has relaunched daily flights between here and the UAE. The first 777 from Dubai touched down shortly before 9 last night, jetting off with passengers 2 hours later. Tourism Minister Zoe Bettison has welcomed Emirates' return.
Really good news for both international tourism and, of course, our exports as well. We're at about $160 million a year. So it's absolutely fantastic that Emirates are back in South Australia.
Public health experts are pushing for an overhaul of super, which is being used to fund surgeries. They say a scheme which allows chronically ill Australians to pay for treatment is regularly being rorted. In some cases, patients are withdrawing retirement savings to fund aesthetic dental work and cosmetic procedures. A digital stroke prevention tool called Love Your Brain is currently being developed by health researchers. Monash University has partnered with the Stroke Foundation to innovate educational resources to reduce Australians' risk of getting a stroke. On World Stroke Day, research leader Dominique Cadillac says around the world there are 12 million strokes every year. In Australia, hundreds of thousands of people are living with the consequences.
We have estimated that we have over 440,000 people who live with stroke. 1 in 4 of those strokes are happening in people under the age of 65. And every year we have almost 46,000 new strokes. So that's one stroke nearly every 11 minutes.
Australian students are leading the world when it comes to generating original ideas. Behind Singapore, our own 15-year-olds placed second in a global assessment of creative thinking. Australian Council for Educational Research Chief Executive Lisa Rogers says 43% of our students performed in the top category.
It's telling us that with the curriculum, many teachers are teaching creative thinking skills. It's supported by principals. It's part of the Australian curriculum and it's paying off.
Now time for 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
Good morning, Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Graham. A great result for the Matildas in their international friendly against Germany, winning 2-1 in Germany this morning. The Aussies trailed early, but a goal either side of half-time saw them get the result. Still on soccer, and Manchester United has parted ways with manager Erik ten Hag. Ruud van Nistelrooy will take over as interim manager. And at the Ballon d'Or Awards, 17-year-old Barcelona star Lamine Yamal has won the Best Young Talent. There's been a stunning admission from a senior member of the Wallabies coaching staff. Former All Black scrum coach Mike Cron joined the Australian squad under Joe Schmidt in April. He says basic skill levels just weren't up to standard.
I was surprised with some of the skills they probably needed at a younger age, and we just had to go back a wee bit to make sure we nailed that and bring them through.
Let's go to football. Top draft hopeful Jagger Smith believes he will be able to slot in as an AFL midfielder. The Oakley Chargers 18-year-old wants to be taken with the first pick in next month's draft, and he's told Wide World of Sports he plays in a similar vein to Zach Butters at Port Adelaide.
My point of difference is I can win at both, on the inside and the outside, which makes me a little bit different.
Meantime, North Melbourne forward Jaden Stevenson has retired from the AFL despite having a year to run on his contract. The former Magpie and Rising Star winner had been reportedly wrestling with the decision for some time. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Do you need pragmatic and relevant commercial legal advice? Contact JFL and Smith Lawyers, nationally recognised local specialists.
Morning there, big hole getting fixed up at the moment at Parafield Gardens due to a previous burst water main. It's on the Salisbury Highway near Lavender Drive. Slow for works at Morfordville this morning. It's on Morford Road just near Anzac Highway and the tram line there. And a bit sluggish as we speak at Jeps Cross, Main North Road near Matthews Road for work. Got speeds down to 42. Got cameras mostly in the hills today, Nan Road, Woodside and Mount Barker Road at Hahndorf. At OTR, put your next coffee on ice. Swirls of delicious barista-made coffee poured into ice-cold milk. Feels like summer. OTR. Making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Beautiful days ahead. Sunny and 25 today. Tomorrow sunny 27. Thursday mostly sunny 24. Friday mostly sunny 23. Currently it's 12. More news as it happens on 5AA.
G'day everyone, Cornsey here. Now I know a great team when I see one, and the South Australian hydraulic team I rate the highest is BL Shipway. The Shipway team are the best in the business. They've been looking after your hydraulic and pneumatic needs since 1953 with brands like Ryco, Rexroth, Enerpac, Hydac, Oilpath, EasyFit and many more. If you can't get to them, they'll send a Ryco 24/7 van to you anytime, anywhere. blshipway.com.au, a South Australian team you can count on.
The deadline to win one of 5 luxury escapes is midnight Sunday in the St John Christmas Home Lottery. Imagine the Maldives, Fiji, New Zealand and more. Plus, your ticket will stay in all remaining draws from our $10.9 million prize pool, including our grand prize draw, with 4 breathtaking $5 million grand prize home packages to choose from. Licence number M14618. Get your ticket before midnight Sunday. Support your St John Ambos. Visit stjohnlottery.com.au.
Over 60,000 Adelaide homes have said yes to saving money on their energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. What's keeping you? Did you know that you might be eligible for a rebate on a new appliance like a dryer or fridge? You might even qualify for a purchase you've already made. Just visit the Yes website for a list of appliances and the size of the cashback available. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from your energy saving solutions, go to yes.net.au. That's yes.net.au.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range. Petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes away. We've got more food and beverage vouchers to give away. We're going to do so when we convene the jury very shortly. I don't think it'll require you to be Nostradamus to work out what the subject matter will be this morning. The jury's coming up very, very shortly. Then after 8:30 in an hour's time, we're going to give you access to the South Australian Treasurer, Stephen Mulligan. If you've got a question for him, you can ask it directly. He's going to be joining us regularly on the program to talk about matters of the South Australian economy and the state government and so forth. Looking forward to it. It's access you won't get anywhere else. So make sure you stick around and submit a question. Call in or text us.
He's got a unique job because every single aspect of political life in South Australia invariably lands on his lap. And it's everything from hospital funding to police numbers to major events, you name it, you know. Even these new mobile phone detection cameras. I want to ask him about that because
they're a birthday present for him, I think.
Oh, unbelievable. And
you see 80 licences got cancelled in the first month.
One person got done 15 times.
2 licences were lost a day. Or thereabouts.
Extraordinary, isn't it?
During the camera operation. The
mobile phones are like heroin for people.
Clearly.
They just can't quit them.
There's only five cameras in well-publicised places. Imagine if they were everywhere. There might be no one left on our roads.
Well, you know, in New South Wales, they don't tell you where they are. Here, you've had 3 months warning about exactly where they are, and we're still catching that many people.
It's just remarkable. All right, let's head to Canberra. Speaking of remarkable, Phil Curry from the Australian Financial Review, the political editor, joins us on a morning. Phil, we need you to put your stethoscope on and become the doctor for us, because we can see, and our listeners are telling us, this Albo Qantas upgrade story's got warts all over it. Are the warts fatal for the PM? Are they going to seriously diminish his quality of life, or are they the kind of thing that are going to go away in a couple of weeks?
I don't know if it's fatal, but it's not a good look, is it? It sort of comes on the back of a few other things, that haven't looked good for him. It's not something like he's done in the last few years or anything like that. But and look, as we all sort of wrote, MPs almost get upgrades when they get on a flight. If they get offered an upgrade, especially if they're flying overseas, and that some accept it, some don't. But inevitably, they all declare it on their register of interest. The difference this one is that on some occasions, we don't know how many, Mr Albanese, when he was either Transport Minister or Shadow Transport Minister, actually rang the CEO of Qantas and said, "Oh mate, can you give me an upgrade? For me and the missus, we're going overseas." Or we know it was on a couple of private trips and some public trips. So it's that spectre of actually ringing the CEO of the airline requesting an upgrade that just sort of suggests that special privilege, and obviously raises questions about conflict of interest, given if you're the minister looking after airlines and making decisions about who can fly in and who can fly out and who their competitors can be. You leave yourself exposed to that, and that's the sort of point the opposition is raising. So it's sort of another lost few days for the government, talking about this rather than what they'd rather talk about. It goes to judgment again. We had this sort of thing with the beach house the other week, and was that a really good idea to do that at this time? So look, I don't think they're not going to bump him off for anything like that, but there's a lot of head scratching going on again. But it's not like, as I said, this wasn't something he did last week, which has caused this. This is something in some instances many years ago, and it's just happened to come out in a new book on Qantas, and that's why it's an issue.
Your old mate Joe Aston, Phil, throwing a few hand grenades, which
Exactly,
is his whole modus operandi.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean, the object, I think,
but
of
he's
the book
been
was,
right about, we were saying before, books like this don't get published without being vetted to buggery legally. You're not going to publish
no
a
one's
book
denying
that's
it.
loose.
The PM's not denying it. He just said, "I declared it. Let's move on." Well, but people are saying, "Well, go." It's a bit more than just declaring it, because you asked for you rang the CEO. That sort of takes special access to a new level. So that's where he's in trouble. And it's interesting, because I didn't see the papers on Saturday because I was playing golf. But I played golf again on Sunday morning, and all the fellas at the golf club were talking about it. And when an issue cuts through really quickly, when your sort of mates who don't care about politics are talking about nothing else, and you think, oh, this is not good for him. Some issues just cut straight through the barrier into the public, and I think this is one of them, and that's the problem. That's the problem. As you said, I imagine your listeners are pretty exercised about it too.
Yeah, well, big time. Heaps, just a mountain of calls. Hey, Phil, the Queensland election on the weekend largely fought over state issues, but one thing that I thought was interesting was the fact that the Libs were so far in front at the start of the campaign, but Labor sort of roared back to life, and a lot of people are now crediting Stephen Miles, even though he lost, with sort of saving the furniture. The result's not as bad as it could have been. Much of that was off the back of, 50-cent public transport fares and real cash handout things for cost of living. Do you think there's going to be a temptation for federal Labor to look at that sort of stuff?
No, there's a bit of talk about maybe they should, but look, I just caution with Queensland, Dave. It was still a massive flogging. Like Miles had a good last 2 weeks of the campaign, but the problem for him is half the state voted in the first 2 weeks of the campaign with early voting. So, he still lost 54-46. It was a swing of 7.5%. If that happened in the federal election, Peter Dutton would have a majority government. It was a walloping. It just tightened up a bit in the last week, which state campaigns often do. But he was just promising crazy stuff, right? So, I mean, he did cut public transport fares to 50 cents, and you know how some state governments have given people a discount on their power bill. He gave $1,000, but then he promised things like he's going to build state-owned petrol stations with cap price petrol, and set up a state-owned electricity retailer with cap price electricity, and free school lunches. All school lunches were going to be free. I mean, it was going to cost $33 billion, right, all this stuff. And it was just loony stuff. And what it was about was he was never going to win the election, so it was about trying to save a few seats. And his opponent, David Crisafulli, who's now the Premier, he backed the 50-cent bus fares and the power bill discounts because they were already in, but he didn't go at the other stuff because he was going to win, and if he won, he'd have to put this stuff in. So Chalmers is very, Chalmers got asked about this yesterday. There's a bit of reporting about, they should do something like 50 cent bus fares, and he's saying, look, that's not what we're going to do. They'll do something. They're planning some pretty big spending for the election. We're hearing a lot about universal childcare, and there'll be some more stuff on the home energy front and things, but they can't go Looney Tunes because all it'll do is set inflation roaring off again, and we've got inflation numbers out tomorrow, quarterly figures, which are going to show again we're higher than the rest of the world, and we're still not out of the woods yet on interest rates. And the last thing, I think people are getting a bit sick of it, to be honest, about this sort of wild spending. People are starting to wake up to it a bit and realise it's not as, not as great as we'd like to think. It does have consequences, and that's starting to creep into the internal research now, economic responsibility. So, as he said, we're a first-term government, they were a third-term government, they were pretty desperate. And it just makes you look desperate, I think, when you start doing stuff like that, just giving away free stuff, and they don't want to look desperate. So they'll spend money, but there'll be more of a balance to it. It won't be silly stuff, because it'll be stuff you actually got to implement if you win, which, the odds are Labor will still govern, at least in minorities. So, as tempting as it might be, everyone gets a free car or something like that. You'd be mad to do it. So
set of steak knives.
Yeah, exactly, all that sort of thing. Yeah. So anyway, so we'll see. But then again, a few more elbow disasters and the polls go south. They might start getting a bit desperate.
It's funny to think back then. What was it, 84? Mick Young. He got one of the greatest politicians in the history of the Labor Party. Port Adelaide's own Mick Young. Didn't he get done for forgetting to declare a teddy bear at customs? That
wasn't it a TV or something? Yeah, or didn't pay duty on a television or something? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, those things. Yeah. I mean, there's no
little things like that can
they used to matter.
But
look, there's no suggestion here that Albanese hasn't broken the rules. I mean, had he not been declaring this stuff, although we did have a story in our paper today that 3 of these flights he didn't declare his then wife, who was also accompanied him, and got an upgrade as well, where she was a state MP in New South Wales, and she declared it on her register. So there's a slip there. But by and large, he hasn't really broken the rules. It's just, is it really what you should be doing as, in your capacity as Transport Minister or Shadow Transport Minister? And, the opposition will run around forever now saying when the government last year stopped Qatar Airlines from, increasing its flights into Australia, was that payback, to Qantas for all the free stuff they gave him. And so you leave yourself open to all this innuendo, but there's actually no evidence of a direct quid pro quo or anything like that.
Yeah, I suppose that's a good thing about private conversations. There can't be any evidence. Good on you, Phil.
Okay,
good luck at golf on Saturday too. Sounds like you can claim that as a focus group because it's all work related.
That's a good idea.
Taking the pulse of the people.
We're talking about just breaking the rules.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Good on you, Phil. It's the Aussie way.
The political editor of the Australian Financial Review, Phil Curry.
To round that out, great text from Greg. It continues to stagger me how many people in public office are so dumb that they don't recognise when something's likely to fail the pub test. If it looks like it could come back and bite you in the bum, it probably will.
Well, it's not all one-way traffic on the Duttons text line against Anthony Albanese on the Qantas issue. And in fact, we're going to put it to not the pub test, but the jury test on the other side of this break. If you'd like to be part of our jury this morning, 8223 is the number. You get calling now. Someone in the jury is going to get a whole bunch of food and drink vouchers without ringing the CEO of our company. That's going to get them for participating. Thanks to the great people at the Lucky Dumpling Market, Matsuri Japanese Street Food, Suki Lala, and Nancho Man. Get calling now. Get calling now, and you can be on the jury, and someone is getting that excellent prize. Traffic first, Albo, Qantas, and the jury test next.
At Parafield Gardens, got a hole in the road due to a burst water main, Salisbury Home near Lavender Drive. Port Adelaide, a small collision on St Vincent Street near Nelson Street. Slow for works at Glenside, Green Hill Road near Portrush Road, and busy at Jeps Cross already this morning, Main North Road near Matthews Road. Bit sluggish, Brighton Road, Glenelg East with a camera this morning, Springs Road at Mount Barker. See what's new at Burbank's Fort Largs and Hurdle Grove displays. Explore this weekend and start your journey. Find out more at burbank.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Her mum's on the phone. while she's on her skates.
Careful, honey, don't get too close to the road.
She rides from the top of the driveway to test how fast she can go. And suddenly...
Wait, stop!
She's testing your brakes too. Stop and take time to ensure your car stops in time and the brakes are all you hit. Let Automasters test your brakes before someone else does. Call 1300 Automasters.
Hi, Daniel Talley here, General Manager of Home. That's HAUME. Put simply, we buy homes. We're not agents, we don't charge fees, there's no advertising, none of that. We just make the process of selling your home easy. It means you don't have to spend a cent or any of your valuable time getting it ready for sale. We'll buy your home as is and at market value. It's pretty straightforward. Thinking of selling stress-free? Visit home.com.au. That's HAUME.com.au.
What starts with A and ends with E? Supplements for you and me.
Arbor Vitae health supplements are now available at Chemist Warehouse for just $49.99 a bottle. You save over $19 a bottle at Chemist Warehouse.
Arbor Vitae.
Just call Ken Hall. We'll be there anytime at all. Just call Ken Hall. Just call Ken Hall. If there's a job to be done, Ken is the one. Just call Ken Hall. Plumbing, air or electrical, is there anything you need? Ken's the one who can get things done, and it's always guaranteed. Just call Ken Hall.
I'll grab a few people I know. We'll mark out some places to go. There's no invitation, just a destination, and that's the best freedom I know. Jump in the Jayco. Jump in the Jayco. Yeah, that's the best freedom I know.
Her mum's on the phone while she's on her skates.
Careful, honey, don't get too close to the road. Wait, stop!
Let Automasters test your brakes before someone else does. Call 1300 Automasters.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
In the criminal justice system, all defendants are innocent until proven guilty, either by confession, plea bargain, or trial by jury. This is one of those trials.
Yeah, no surprise this morning for the jury. We're asking you about the Prime Minister's, at least formally, cosy relationship with the CEO of Qantas, Alan Joyce, where, as reported in Joe Aston's new book, he, on a number of occasions, rang Alan Joyce personally to request upgrades. Now, he declared these, as you just heard Phil Curry talk about a moment ago, but their nature raises suspicion. It invites all sorts of speculation about why the Qatar deal fell over subsequently, and we're getting a mixed response from listeners on the Duttons text line this morning, from people who find it scandalous and others who find it irrelevant. Scandalous or irrelevant, the Anthony Albanese Qantas story that has come to light that we've spent a bit of time discussing this morning. Scandalous or irrelevant? Someone who's on the jury will be getting along to the Lucky Dumpling Market with a fistful of food and drink vouchers. We'll give that one away randomly.
Clint Eastwood film, wasn't it? Fistful of vouchers.
Fistful of vouchers, I think it was.
We've got a doco about Clint on SBS last night.
I love Clint Eastwood. We got 822300000. A few jury spots available, but it's an eager jury. They started to convene very, very, very early. Anthony Albanese and the Qantas flight upgrade requests. The story, is it scandalous or irrelevant? You can get calling now and be part of the jury and put yourself in a position to get along to the Lucky Dumpling Market with those food and drink vouchers. Let's start the trial. Juror number one, good morning.
Good morning, legends. Absolutely scandalous.
Thank you, juror number one.
Juror number one.
Juror budgie chirping away in the background.
Yeah, look at you go.
That one was a
budgie judge.
fest. Yeah, I'll say.
Juror number two, good morning.
Good morning, boys. When I hear stuff like this, it makes me so angry. The politicians and governments that wrought the system, right? If you owe the government money, you can't leave the country. Albo, are you listening? If you want an upgrade, put your hand in your pocket, just like you bought your house.
I'm going to say, mark that one down as scandalous. Thank you,
think
juror
so.
number 2. Juror number 3, scandalous or irrelevant?
Absolutely irrelevant. He's the leader of Australia. It's the mate way to ask your mate for something for free. Why not get it and ask for it? It's not his fault.
The mate's way. Okay, thank
The
you, juror
mate's
number
way.
3.
Hey, Alan, can you do us a solid?
That would be a brave defence for the Prime Minister to mount today. Juror number 4, good morning.
Good morning, boys. Definitely scandalous. I think if you run an investigation, I reckon he probably wouldn't even finish his term.
All right, thank you, juror number 4. Juror number 5, good morning.
I'm working class. And, you know, Labor, you always think of the working class. What he's done now, he's better off being a Liberal.
Thank you, juror number 5. Juror number 6, good morning.
Irrelevant, fellas. We all want, it's probably the Australian way, we all want a free upgrade when we're flying. And if you've got contacts, it helps even more. So, yeah, irrelevant.
Okay, thank you, juror number 6. And juror number 7, good morning.
We've all done it before. If we can do it, we would all do it. So to me, it's irrelevant.
Well, there you go.
Thank
Good
you.
stuff, juror number 7. So we had 4 for scandalous and 3 for irrelevant. That's closer than it is on the text line.
Yeah.
The text line's running about probably 70%, 80% negative.
Yeah, I would have thought so. And
There's quite a few people saying things, oh, hang on a minute. Bridget McKenzie, when she was the sports minister, she took upgraded flights, denied it, and then had to backtrack.
Correct.
But the problem is, if you're in public life, you don't want everyone's takeout on an issue to be, well, they're all a pack of bludgers and they all do the same sort of stuff anyway, which seems to be the best case scenario at the moment for the PM.
Yeah, without a doubt. The Dutton's text line continued to run off the hook during the jury just then. In fact, before we have a look at those Dutton's texts, maybe we should award the excellent Lucky Dumpling Market vouchers.
Let's give it to juror number 5.
Okay.
Hey, there's a good text here. No name given, but so Metallica tickets have gone on sale or are going on sale, and they're using dynamic pricing. Now, according to this screenshot that one of our listeners have sent through, for the Melbourne show, the price range will be from $105.11, and it says the standard tickets have been priced by the tour as per below, from $105.11 and not to exceed $750. And then there's a handling fee from $9.90 per order. The Perth tickets, they'll be from $110.33 and not exceeding $750. So what that means is when the tickets go on sale, based on demand, they'll be able to charge you up to $750 to see Metallica.
Well, this is... Since when is this... I mean, this is the Uberization of everything, isn't it? The surge pricing of
where do they get off doing
good
it?
Is
okay, think of a really good restaurant in Adelaide that's hard to get into. Okay, let's say Fugazi. So say it's Gather Round and you want a table at Fugazi. Can you imagine the hue and cry if the people who own Fugazi suddenly said...
Pasta's $120 a dish.
Yeah. Or if you really want that, you know, hammer tomahawk steak, it's going to cost you $460 because everyone else wants one tonight. It's extraordinary.
It's
isn't
amazing
it?
how this has just suddenly crept in.
Or even car dealers. Like for the last couple of years, it's better now, but there were supply issues. What's to stop them from saying, actually, if you want a Hilux, you can get one, but they're $120,000.
Well, I guess it's a matter of definition, isn't it? When is something the natural workings of a free market, and when is it gouging?
Yeah,
Feels like the line's been blurred, largely thanks to technology. It's just easier for a computer to automate. Well, there's this much demand, we can jack the price up by X amount. Yeah, I don't like this at all, this brave new world of concert going.
No. Total rip-off.
Minute to 8, 5AA News is coming up, breaking 8 next.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. On time, on budget, on the job.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
If you're packing up your family to travel across the land will treat you different in a Dave Benson caravan.
Summer is on the way, and at DBC we're bringing the heat with genuine discounts. No Black Friday, no Cyber Monday, not even a free set of steak knives. Just a straight up $500,000 in discounts on Australia's largest range of new and used caravans under one roof. Prices reduced on over 100 vans, in stock, ready to rock. On now until the end of November, only at Dave Benson Caravans.
The news and information that matters. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Sunny and 25 today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Graham Goodings.
Make RAA approved windscreen repairer, Complete Windscreens, your insurer repairer of choice. Visit completewindscreens.com.au.
A 15-year-old girl critically injured in a car crash on the weekend has died overnight in hospital. The crash also claimed the life of her 5-year-old brother. The pair were travelling with their parents along the Riddick Highway in the southeast when their Toyota was rear-ended by a Nissan Ute. They had braked to avoid a Holden which had hit an emu. The young boy died at the scene. Senior Constable Matt Brown updates our state road toll.
The 71st and 72nd lives lost on SA roads this year, and of course roads are reopened in the area, so tragic news there from the southeast.
A man's been assaulted in Parafield Gardens in a violent home invasion. Just before 3 a.m, 3 men forced their way into a house on Fern Court and demanded money. One of the suspects was armed with a metal pole. The male resident tried to grab the pole but was stabbed in the hand by another suspect. The victim was taken to hospital and all suspects fled the scene. Police believe the break-in was not a random incident. Emirates has returned to Adelaide following a 4.5-year hiatus. The Middle Eastern airline stopped flying directly to Adelaide during the COVID pandemic. Managing Director of the airport, Brendan Cox, says the first flight arrived last night from Dubai.
We are absolutely pumped. I tell you what, this is big for us and big for the tourism industry and education industry and those exporters. So it's a daily flight as well. So it's brilliant to have them back, connecting us to the world again with a daily 777. And it was just beautiful watching it on the tarmac last night.
Public health experts are pushing for an overhaul of super, which is being used to fund surgeries. They say a scheme which allows chronically ill Australians to pay for treatment is regularly being rorted. In some cases, patients are withdrawing retirement savings to fund aesthetic dental work and cosmetic procedures. House prices in Adelaide, Sydney, Brisbane and Perth are at record highs for a 7th consecutive quarter, but growth is slowing. Latest Domain figures show price gains have halved compared with the previous quarter. Chief of Research Dr. Nicola Powell says growing supply is giving buyers the opportunity to negotiate prices, which is causing the slowdown.
Overall, I think what we're seeing is supply is rising. We've got overall supply about 21% higher than the 5-year average. So what that means for buyers is they are in a spring market where there is a bit more choice.
The country's outgoing Border Force boss is warning of new threats facing Australia as he prepares to step down. Commissioner Michael Outram is handing over the reins after almost 7 years in the job. He says the border is facing more threats now than ever before.
The reach of transnational organised crime internationally, their ability to infiltrate our global supply chains, that's an evolving threat and that's not going away. The new issue is these grey zone tactics that we're now seeing across the world, and that includes, of course, the recruiting of organised criminals to undertake acts of espionage. So the border situation is evolving.
Julia Gillard's legacy as Australia's first female Prime Minister is being recognised by the University of Adelaide. The Julia Gillard Prime Ministerial Library will be established at the university where she began her political career. A collection of documents from Ms Gillard's career will be brought from the National Archives of Australia to the new library, which is expected to open in 2027. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. The Matildas' impressive start under interim manager Tom Samani has continued after a come-from-behind 2-1 win against Germany in Duisburg in their friendly this morning. Meantime, Manchester United has sacked manager Erik ten Hag as the club struggles with the disappointing English Premier League season so far. Ten Hag's 2.5-year reign came to an end less than 24 hours after United lost 2-1 to West Ham. They're currently 14th in the league. He's the 5th permanent manager to be sacked by the club since the retirement of Sir Alex Ferguson in 2013. His assistant, Ruud van Nistelrooy, will take over as interim manager until a permanent replacement is found. Well, as he prepares for a big summer of cricket, Aussie Test captain Pat Cummins has opened up on one of his biggest role models for leadership. The fast bowler is crediting his wife Becky for her display of resilience, while often raising their child alone when he's away on national duty. Cummins has told Today his firstborn provides perspective on the highs and lows of professional sport.
We spend most of our life talking about cricket and thinking that's the most important thing. It's pretty nice, when you come home and you kind of get a bit of a reality check, and it's a lot easier, when you've got a 3-year-old sitting there as well, that's the real deal.
Meantime, the Adelaide Strikers women will take on the Sydney Sixers later this afternoon as they search for their first win of the WBBL campaign. Well, some of the stars of the Melbourne Cup Carnival are in action at Flemington this morning. Current Victoria Derby favourite El Castello, trained by Anthony Cummings, is getting a look at Flemington for the first time. Game 3 of baseball's World Series will get underway this morning with the New York Yankees set to take on the LA Dodgers, the Dodgers leading the best-of-7 series 2-0. And Week 8 of the NFL will conclude this morning with the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the New York Giants. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Do you need pragmatic and relevant commercial legal advice? Contact JFL and Smith Lawyers, nationally recognised local specialists.
At Parafield Gardens, got a hole in the road getting fixed, causing a few delays to the drive-in. It's due to an old burst water main, Salisbury Hoe and Lavender Drive. Small Bengal to look out for, getting cleaned up at the moment at Port Adelaide, St Vincent's Road near Nelson Street. And slow for works at Tea Tree Gully today, North East Road near Walter Street. Busy South Road Edward Sound with a camera, Barnett Road at Evanston. Half price Tuesday at Event Cinemas. Cinebuzz members save 50% on full price adult tickets. Limited time only. Book now at Event Cinemas and save. T's and C's and online booking fees apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video. Direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Wonderful weather ahead. Sunny and 25 today. Tomorrow sunny 27. Thursday mostly sunny 24. Friday mostly sunny 23. Currently it's 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Marina Pier is going all out this Melbourne Cup Day with a plethora of race day events planned. There's fabulous food, wine, giveaways, non-stop entertainment, live music, fashion shows, auctions, and of course, the big race. Check out all the venues that are in on the fun. Oyster Bar, Elenica, Seafire on the Marina, Luciano's on the Marina, The Wharf, and then make sure you head on down to Sunset Bar for the after party, with proceeds helping the Flinders Foundation raise money to support cancer care and research. Book now via their website. Looking to make a meaningful difference? CMAX is seeking volunteers to join a groundbreaking clinical trial that could create a brighter future for those living with cystic fibrosis. If you're aged 18 to 55 and generally healthy, you might be eligible to participate in a study trialling a potential new treatment for this condition. Spend 3 nights at CMAX, attend 1 follow-up visit, and get paid for your time. Want to learn more? Visit cmax.com.au. That's cmax.com.au.
In Adelaide and across South Australia, this is 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range. Petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 8, the Treasurer, Stephen Mulligan, joining us live in the studio after 8:30. Opportunity for you to speak to the Treasurer if you'd like to ask him a question. 8223 0000 is our number, or you can text us, of course, on the Duttons text line and watch the whole thing on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. We've got a very interesting story told to us on the Duttons text line that comes to us by way of the online discussion forum Reddit, where a bunch of people talking about what's going on in Adelaide regarding some confronting scenes in the world of pigeon culling in suburban Adelaide. We're going to read that out very shortly. I think it's
almost a breaking at 8.
It's worth asking people.
It's a crazy story.
Yeah. If it's accurate.
I thought about doing this down at Aldinga. I actually said half seriously to Kate the other day, "You're going to go to that gun shop in Wollonga and buy an air rifle and just spend my autumn years sitting on the veranda at home at Aldinga." Just
sounds like you might be able to. Not sure. But the story would suggest it might be more achievable than you thought originally.
I think the local chapter of Friends of the Aldinga Scrub might have something to say about that.
Yeah, that's right. You might be You might get
that
picketed.
guy who asked me to sign the petition
he's
against
he's been waiting for opportunity.
the
like
paving
this.
of the proposed footpath they wanted to put along the southern end of the esplanade. Probably wouldn't like it. And the sound of air pellets being fired at pigeons in the scrub.
Lots of great texts about price gouging as well, and dynamic pricing, as it's now called, in the context of the Metallica tickets that we mentioned just a moment ago. We'll get to those shortly as well. But first, it's time for Breaking at 8.
Well, there's a growing level of concern about youth knife crime, and it reached something of a crescendo in Adelaide's northern suburbs last week when there were not one but two alleged incidents involving youths carrying knives on the same day. Both matters are now before the courts. Well, the question that a lot of our listeners have been asking is what can be done about it? Well, the Leader of the Opposition, Vincent Tarzia, thinks that he has one such solution, and it's going to be the subject of a bill that he's going to be introducing to Parliament. We have Vincent Tarzia on the line, especially this morning for Breaking at 8, where he's going to reveal a key plank in the opposition's law and order policy, namely a ban on the sale of knives to people under the age of 18. Mr. Tarzia, good morning. Those incidents last week were shocking, but there was a bit of defeatism where people were going, well, what can you really do? You guys think you've got at least one answer to that problem?
Absolutely. Good morning, Will. Good morning, Dave. So that's right. But look, there's been a spate of incidents. I mean, Arndale, 25th of June, 6 youths arrested, many of them carrying knives. Marion, 23rd of June, 3 youths arrested, many of them carrying weapons. Elizabeth, 24 October, teens arrested. A large knife with blood was found in the centre. Elizabeth outside the courts on Friday, August the 9th. So what we're going to do is today we're going to walk into Parliament. The government's been sitting on this for months. They haven't acted, so we're going to do it. We're going to make it illegal to sell a knife to anyone under the age of 18. I mean, it's an absolute no-brainer. Currently, it's an offence to sell a knife for a minor who's under the age of 16. But what we're going to do is we're going to change that to 18, because at the moment you're seeing a whole range of people that are being arrested for alleged offences who are 16 and 17 and carrying those knives. So we think that'll serve as a good deterrent. It'll hit the opportunity aspect, and if anyone sells these knives to these youth without reasonable excuse, say for one of their tools of trade for their work or something, then they could face a maximum imprisonment of 2 years and also maximum penalty of $20,000.
I wanted to ask that about, so like if you're a young apprentice chef or something like that, or maybe you needed some sort of cutting tool for a gardening trade or something, there would be exemptions where you can establish your bona fides along those lines, yeah?
Yeah, so we've got in it the lawful pursuit of an occupation, education or training, construction, renovation, restoration, maintenance. Like you said, if you're a chef, there will be exemptions. But we think this is just a simple and effective measure to make sure that we bring South Australia into line with, quite frankly, the rest of the states. And the government's been sitting on this discussion paper for several months and they haven't acted. So for whatever reason, the government doesn't think this is a good idea, but we think it's a good idea, and we're going to try and legislate it from today.
Vincent Tarzia, given the ready availability of knives, is there any evidence that any of the knives used in any of these crimes were actually purchased by the young people who went on to commit them?
Well, it just seems ludicrous that at the moment you can go into one of these stores and purchase one of these knives and walk straight out. And what we're trying to do is create more of a deterrent for those people. At the end of the day, people may still, go into a kitchen and find a knife, but what we're saying to the sellers, if you sell one of these knives to a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old and they don't have a damn good reason for it, well, that is going to be an offence, and if we catch you, then you're going to be put in jail.
And these laws, from what I understand, Mr. Tarzia, these are in line with a lot of the other states have already done this, brought in a ban for under 18s, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been done right across the board. South Australia is one of the only, if not the only, state where this isn't the case.
Yeah.
Is this all forms of knife, or is this sort of your big hunting knife and something like that, or does it apply? Would it apply to buying a set of butter knives at Harris Scarf as well?
No. So we're not changing the definition of knife, but you hit the nail on the head. I can go to many of these stores at the moment and buy a knife, which can cause a lot of damage. You can go home, you can sharpen it. That is just outrageous. And so, of course, there has to be some exemptions for people that have got a legitimate reason for it. But for a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old who is hell-bent on causing harm, we're going to make it harder to do so.
Opposition Leader Vincent Tarzia, thanks for joining us this morning for Breaking at 8.
Thank you.
There's being introduced today, apparently. I reckon the government will back it. Well, I reckon they'll just say, well, you can't argue against it, can you?
No, I don't know who you're defending.
I mean, you made a good
ultimately.
point about the...
I'm not sure it prevents a single crime, but at least it's showing a preparedness to do something about it. I mean, if I'd been druthers, it'd be more a penalty about...
What does that mean, druthers?
Had it my way.
You were born in 1846.
I mean, carrying a knife around should carry a graver offence, I think. I don't know what...
Yeah.
What do you need in suburban or in the city? You don't have to cut away, bits of, obstinate jungle, are you?
That's right. Like Indiana
maybe
Jones.
Can we just punish people who carry knives around?
I'm just
a lot?
trying to make it down the road to Drake's.
I don't know. We just to see what people think on the Duttons text line. Is the perch knives the issue here? Or is it? Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. They're endeavouring to do something about law and order, which is a nice change from what we generally see in South Australian politics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let people know what you think, folks. 0480 1395.
My brother-in-law just sent me a good link to an article in The Guardian from the weekend. Let's hear it for Robert Smith, the lead singer of The Cure, because they have just done a tour where they've set up their own ticketing app, and they've said, look, you're paying £850 to see Oasis at Wembley with this
crazy
pricing. So The Cure, geez, they're a good band. Head on the Door, what a good record. They've set up they've used some special app that is impervious to the Viagogos of this world, and they've said every ticket to our concert is going to cost £45, and there's no delivery fee.
Fantastic.
How good's that?
Good on them.
Good on you, Rob.
Yeah, indeed. All right, let's go to Clarence Gardens. Dave, good morning.
These knife laws, banning them under the age of 18, it's not going to change anything. They don't carry big hunting knives. They carry little, like stab knives and stuff like that. The only way you're going to stop it is make the penalty for the people that do it tougher and get us some judges that are going to hand down those penalties.
I'm inclined to agree with Dave, I've got to say. Thank you, Dave. Let's. The State Attorney General Kai Ma has called in on this. Attorney General, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. How you going?
Yeah, good, thank you. Attorney?
In relation to the use of knives, I didn't hear all of the opposition leader, but we are doing a lot in relation to that. We had a discussion paper this year, and I would expect early next year, after that we received more than 100 submissions, we'll have legislation that will do a whole lot of things like raise the age, give a whole lot more powers to police and others to use metal detectors to search for knives. But that's in conjunction with a whole lot of other things we're doing, including the announcement on the weekend for our workplace prevention orders so we can bar dangerous people from retail precincts as well.
Well, given that you've just said it'll likely raise the age of legal sale, will you be backing Vincent Tazia's bill?
We're really keen to make sure we're doing something comprehensive, David, and of course, rushing in to say something that raises the age probably doesn't take into account things like apprentice chefs who actually need to have and be able to buy a knife for their work. So having received more than 100 submissions that include things like raising the age, we'll be doing not just that, but a whole range of other things as well.
Yeah, it sounds like it's probably going to be happening anyway. Kai Ma, thank you for calling in.
Yeah,
there we go.
There's going to be too many
Everyone's
houses of
listening to
opposition
breaking
to
age.
tougher knife crime. No, everyone must listen to.
But the Libs need to do more of that front foot stuff.
Definitely.
Get away from all the internal nonsense.
Definitely.
And get out there responding to issues that are resonating with the public.
It's good politics, good opposition. That's
right.
We can debate the merits of solutions, but if you're coming up with solutions in opposition, that's a good thing. 18 minutes after 8, we're going to take a break. This interesting story has been passed our way about the pigeon cull in Adelaide's southern beachside suburbs. How it's been played.
There's a guy who looks like the sniper in Saving Private Ryan. He's been found lurking behind the Brighton fish and chip shop.
Some people are disturbed.
I wonder if he recites the Lord's Prayer before he pops a cap in there, feathered.
We're going to talk about that on the other
There
side of
he
this
is.
break. Traffic first, though.
At Parafield Gardens, a hole in the road due to a burst water main. Salisbury Highway near Lavender Drive. Slow for works at Glenelg North this morning. Tapley's Hill Road to St Anne's Terrace. Quite busy at the moment. The Porter Expressway heading into Port Adelaide. And we're down to 40K as Brooklyn Park for works. Marion Road near Western Parade. Camera 2 this morning. Mount Barker Road at Hahndorf. Need to upgrade your 4x4. Petters lift kits and brakes handle towing, off-road and heavy loads. Visit a Petters store or check out petters.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Stephen Rowe and Tim Jennifer.
Cornsey's article in the paper, I love his articles. It's basically, are modern AFL players spoilt? Now, spoiled on the back of, they get enormous amount of money. In 2025, the average wage will be up over $500,000.
It's the entertainment industry now.
The 5AA Sports Show.
Great, but also you can fall off the face of the earth pretty quickly as well.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Join over 60,000 Adelaide homes and say yes to lowering your energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. Do you know how much that old fridge in the shed is adding to your electricity bill? Your energy saving solutions can collect your old inefficient fridges and freezers for free, and the best part is that you can also get up to $150 per unit. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from Your Energy Saving Solutions, go to yes.net.au. That's yes.net.au.
It's easy to get behind the wheel of a new Mawson Lakes Volkswagen right now. In fact, it's ridiculously easy. All you need to do is head to the showroom on Salisbury Highway, check out the range of new and demo Volkswagens on sale now, and then pick your favourite. How easy is that? All stock is ready for immediate delivery, with easy finance options available. And remember our next day servicing. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
Just call Ken Hall. We'll be there anytime at all. Just call Ken Hall.
In 1983, we started as Ken Hall Plumbers, and we started providing a lot of service. But in 2024 now, we are Ken Hall because we are plumbers, electricians, roofers, air conditioners, and trade services are all part of our brand.
Just call Ken Hall.
Are you on track to meet your retirement goals or worried about the future? Retirement planning is one of the most important things you can do. With the right advice and a personalised approach from Guardian Wealth Solutions, you can feel confident knowing you've prepared for the future you want. Jackie from Guardian Wealth Solutions will work with you to build a secure future that's right for you. The right advice now will ensure that your retirement years are not just comfortable but truly enjoyable. GuardianWealthSolutions.com.au.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range. Petrol and diesel vehicles, T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes after 8. Time to take some calls on 8223 0000. Dean in Craigmore has called in. Morning to you, Dean.
How are you, boys?
Good, mate. Thank you, Dean.
Hey, a few years ago, down in Aldinga, there was a bloke, I reckon it's probably about 8 years ago now, there was a real cockatoo problem and galah problem. So anyway, a couple of the local businesses hired a bloke to come in and shoot him. But the problem was, they didn't tell everybody. The next thing you've got this guy walking through with a high-powered rifle down the opposite the pub where those shops are there, walking along with a high-powered rifle. Nobody knew anything about it, and everybody's hiding and ringing the cops, and the pub's closed down. The whole lot made the news and all.
Yeah, I can remember that. Was that in Wollonga, Dean?
No, it was in Aldinga itself.
So near the old pub.
Right. Yeah, where the old pub
near the
was.
roundabout.
Yes, that's it. He was walking up because there was all those trees there before they made them down to put Audi in, and all the cockatoos would go into there. So he's walking around just popping off these cockatoos, and everybody's thinking, "Oh my God!"
I don't know if it would have been cockatoos. It might have been the pigeons, because before the On the Run was there used to be that Caltex. It was the mangiest old servo. The roof was dead set. It was on like a 20-degree angle because it had so much poop on top of it. The pigeons had just overrun it.
Well, the reason Dean raises that is because of this post on the Adelaide subreddit overnight that was being brought. I think it was Maddie who texted us a short time ago. I'll read it out because it's a story that I think, if you've seen it, we'd love to hear from you, and it may have disturbed people. Or maybe you're the guy who does the pigeon culling. In any case, here's the Reddit post. So I'm at the park on the Brighton Esplanade, just reading my book and enjoying the sunshine, And there's this guy in a high-vis shirt with his ute parked half on the curb sussing out a house. He's too clean to be an actual tradie at 6 p.m, but he walks up to the driveway, stands back, pretends to look busy, but basically scoping it out. This one house opposite a playground, and he's parked on the same side of the road as the playground. After about an hour, out of nowhere, he pulls out this scoped full-sized rifle, takes 2 shots at the roof of the house and quickly pulls away. I have my phone ready, so I snap this pic of him. There's a photo attached. It's too quiet, has no suppressor, so I figure it's sort of an air rifle. Then he walks up to the house, picks up a dead pigeon and puts it in the back of his ute. I'm like, what the hell? So I call the cops and tell them what I saw. It turns out there's a pigeon cull active in the area, and there are approved contractors working. And the poster goes on to ask, sure they have regulations or a training not to pull their guns out next to a busy playground, or even some sort of signage so people aren't panicked and calling the police while they're, being followed by people just reading their books. It does seem a little bit peculiar, doesn't it?
Given the number of pigeons that there are, though, shooting them, it's like trying to get into a fist fight with every carp in the River Murray. Like, you're never gonna get rid of the damn things.
It would seem sort of inefficient. Has anyone seen this in action recently in the Brighton area? Or indeed, are you the pigeon shooting guy? If you are, or you're one of them, call us.
Every single person I know at Aldinga just tears their hair out about them. Like one of our neighbours down there, they put in solar panels. Within 2 weeks, they had to pull the solar panels off because they'd put nests under every single panel. God.
We got that picture up on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream with the bloke. It would be a little confronting to see that image in Australia.
He did. It looks like someone who's turned up at a mega rally. Seriously.
Shane in Brooklyn Park has scored into the program. Morning to you, Shane.
Yeah, g'day, lads. Interesting you bring up about dynamic pricing. And in that format, I probably wouldn't even bother going to a concert at those prices. First time I heard about it was about 3 years ago. And there's a popular, well-known caravan park in Harndorf. And, if you don't want to tell you the name of the caravan park, I won't. But
no, you can, mate. This isn't the ABC.
Okay, it's Discovery Park.
Yeah, they're great.
Normally, as a caravan park person, we're not that fully, cashed up, but you only pay about $35 a site, depending on where you go. Up in Harndorf, it's normally $50. And let's face it, you're only paying for electricity because most of us, I don't, but most caravans now have en-suites. They jacked it up to over $100. Now, you could pay for a night, you could pay that for a cabin, but they called it dynamic pricing. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. I cancelled my site and said I'm not coming.
So I reckon the problem is in accommodation, though, like when it is a question of demand, like that happens all the time. That's always been going on with hotels. And, if you look... if you're going to Europe, say, in summertime, winter time, our winter, which is their summer, you want to go and stay in the south of France, it's going to cost you 3 times as much or half as much again as it normally does. So there's some industries where it's sort of the norm.
Mm.
But it's a good point, though, that you make, Shane. Thank you, mate.
Thank you for that, Shane. Mike Pearl from House Inspect Australia's just called in. Morning to you, Mike.
Morning, boys. How are we?
Yeah, good, thanks,
Good
Mike.
to chat with you, mate.
Hey, as you know, Dave, we've got a sister company, Pest Inspect Australia, so we do pest control.
Yeah.
And we have Josh, he's our licensed sniper that works for us. So we're regularly out shooting pigeons.
So does it kill them dead, or is it to scare them away?
Yeah. Nah, kills them dead.
Kills them, yeah. Well,
Kills them dead.
they are
So,
pests, and because some people use that poison wheat, but you got to make sure you catch all the dead pigeons because if native animals eat them, they die from the poison. So it's legal to kill pigeons, isn't it?
It is, and there is some other birds too. If they are destructive and causing damage to property, so it can be cockatoos and so forth. As long as you've got the right permits and licensing and everything in place, you shouldn't probably be walking down the street with a .22 air rifle. Probably not ideal. But yeah, pigeons. Because the pigeon poo is carcinogenic, and it's when it dries, it gets into city offices, it gets into air conditioning systems. The easiest and quickest and most humane way to get rid of them and not hurt anything else is to shoot them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good on you, Mike.
Hey, thanks for calling in, Mike. Well, that's true about their guano. In fact, they've even got a disease. Isn't there a disease called bird fancier's lung?
That's right.
That you get from inhaling that powdery, sulphury, dried up muck.
Thanks to you, Mike. Just quickly before we go to 5AA News, we'll have a look at the fuel options out there for you. It's better to be a member with RAA Rewards. Download the RAA app and start saving today. The cheap spots aren't as cheap as they have been. In fact, there's a real range, as you'll hear here. $1.69.9 is the best. Caltex, Edwardstown, the corner of South Road and Dawes Road. Then you're jumping up to $1.79.9 at the ex-convenience St Peters on Stevens Terrace. Then $1.89.9 at the ex-convenience Panorama on Goodwood Road. The diesel is still at around that same price it has been. In fact, now significantly cheaper than unleaded in some places. $1.67.5 at the ex-convenience Hindmarsh on Port Road. 5AA News is coming up. The Treasurer of South Australia, Stephen Mulligan, will be our guest on the other side of this break. If you'd like to talk to him as he kicks off, it'll become a series of regular chats. We invite you to call in now, 8223 0000, the number.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 25 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
Chipped windscreen? RAA approved repairer Complete Windscreens repairs it from just $99. Find the big red koala.
House prices in Adelaide have grown faster than any other capital city. Prices here gained another 4.2% ahead of 3.1% in Perth and 1.5% in Brisbane in the September quarter. According to the latest Domain analysis, everything is pointing to a slowdown in the housing market, shifting in favour of buyers. The return of Emirates to South Australia is expected to benefit the economy by more than $60 million. After pulling out of SA in 2020 when COVID hit, the carrier has relaunched daily flights between here and the UAE. Tourism Minister Zoe Bettison says the first 777 from Dubai touched down shortly before 9 last night.
Fantastic, a great night last night. We saw the first flight post-pandemic of Emirates coming back to Adelaide. Now, this is important because it helps connect us to the world. The destinations from Dubai, they're connected to 130 destinations around the world.
A second child has died following a crash in the state southeast on Sunday. A 5-year-old boy died at the scene of the 3-car crash on the Riddick Highway. Another passenger in the same car, the boy's 15-year-old sister, was taken to hospital with critical injuries. However, she died in hospital last night. A senior government minister is defending the Prime Minister as his relationship with Qantas boss Alan Joyce is brought into question. There's a suggestion Anthony Albanese has received at least 24 flight upgrades and gifts from the airline since 2010. The coalition is demanding a Senate inquiry to be held to delve into the matter. But Social Services Minister Amanda Rishworth has come to the PM's defence.
This has been a complete pile-on the Prime Minister. I mean, it's been, he's publicly declared very, very clearly what he has been gifted, as has other MPs.
Donald Trump's campaign rally in New York is under fire as the US presidential race heats up. US correspondent Lauren Tomasi.
The former president's mega rally was supposed to be a closing argument speech, but it's been overshadowed by racist and hateful remarks made by speakers in the lead-up. The Trump campaign is now in damage control, issuing a statement to say those remarks don't reflect the former president's view. Vice President Kamala Harris has said Trump is fueling division and hate. Both candidates are in battleground states again today, as more than 40 million Americans have now cast their votes, including the president.
Volkswagen is closing 3 of its biggest plants in Germany and sacking tens of thousands of workers after its e-vehicle sales collapsed. It's blaming cheap imports from China. Halloween events are taking off around the country now more than ever. The Australian Retailers Association has found those aged between 35 and 50 are most likely to celebrate the typically American tradition, often with children, followed by younger adults who tend to dress up for Halloween parties. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
And Tom Wren, do you dress up for Halloween?
I don't dress up, but my 6-year-old, he's 6 today, Charlie and Harry 11, they are absolutely gung-ho for it, so got to do it.
Happy birthday, Charlie.
Yeah, happy birthday. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, he's very excited. There's no doubt about that. There goes the wallet. A Claire Hunt header has helped the Matildas to a 2-1 upset victory over Germany. That was in their international friendly this morning. But it was midfielder Kyra Cooney-Cross who dominated the highlight reel, scoring an equalising goal just before half-time. The Arsenal star picking up the ball, scoring a screamer from the edge of the centre circle, as heard on Paramount+.
Cooney-Cross is going to shoot from distance. Incredible! Australia are level! And it's Kyra Cooney-Cross for the first time in Matilda's colours, scoring
It was a peach. Meantime, Manchester United's lost patience with Erik ten Hag sacking him as manager. Former striker Ruud van Nistelrooy will take over as interim. Well, selectors are keeping everyone guessing over the Australian T20 team's new captain for the series against Pakistan. Regular skipper Mitch Marsh is being rested along with many of the test players. Despite naming a 13-man squad, Chair of Selectors George Bailey refused to say who'll lead the team.
Yeah, we'll announce it a bit closer to the series. I think there's a number of players with the ability to captain and some that have had some captaincy experience as well.
And International Rugby League could be winding back the clock next year, with reports the Kangaroos could tour the UK for the first time in 22 years. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Do you need pragmatic and relevant commercial legal advice? Contact JFL and Smith Lawyers, nationally recognised local specialists.
Big hole on the road getting fixed at Parafield Gardens at the moment due to an old burst water main. Salisbury Home and Lavender Drive. Findon, two-car collision, Crittenden Road at Balcombe Avenue. Slow for works at Tea Tree Gully, North East Road near Walters Street, and getting busy at Morfordville, Morford Road near Maxwell Terrace, speeds at 40. Cameras Main Street at Lobethal and Springs Road at Mount Barker. Are you ready to make every step count? Sign up at 10,000steps.org.au/SA Billion Steps for the Billion Steps Challenge starting November 1. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automaster's technician.
Sunny and 25 today, tomorrow sunny 27, Thursday mostly sunny 24, Friday mostly sunny 23. It's currently 16. More news as it happens on 5AA.
There's some big players in the solar energy market, but it's important to remember that bigger isn't always better. At BJ Energy, we're big enough to supply trusted brands like SolarEdge and small enough to take the time to listen. We don't bulk sell solar packages. We'll work with you to find out what you need and what you can expect to save. We can even move you away from gas and electrify your entire home. Visit bjenergy.com.au for a free, no pressure, no obligation quote.
Unique, loyal, fun-loving. That's what we look for in our pals. When you're next spending time with your best friends, don't forget some of the best pals you can have. Parafield Airport Liquor Store has your everyday favourites right through to those hard-to-find products. That's what great pals do. Sam and Jamie from Parafield Airport Liquor Store know every drop on the shelf, so you can always rely on their advice. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals. Next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
The Subaru October demonstrator event is now on, and your next adventure is within reach, with a $750 fuel card free across selected demonstrator models. Subaru for a world discovered. T's and C's apply.
It's that time of year when we hear about the best hotels in SA at the SA Hotel Industry Awards for Excellence. Best live music venue is the Crown and Anchor Hotel, and best entertainment and sporting entertainment goes to the Aqaba Hotel. Best bar presentation and experience metro is at the Highway and the Stirling, and best outdoor area metro is Aqaba Hotel, and in the country it's Port Lincoln Hotel. Congratulations to these outstanding South Australian pubs.
What starts with A and ends with E, supplements for you and me.
Live life to the full with Arbor Vitae, the anti-inflammatory supplement made from natural ingredients. Arbor Vitae provides relief from the symptoms of mild arthritis and joint pain. It helps maintain healthy blood glucose and cholesterol levels and improves cognitive performance. For Tracy from New South Wales, Arbor Vitae has saved her career. She's a cake maker by trade and suffered with sore hands for years. After trying Arbor Vitae, all her pain disappeared, and she thanks Arbor Vitae for saving her career. Arbor Vitae health supplements are now on sale at Chemist Warehouse, Australia's cheapest chemist. arborvitae.com.au. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range. Petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
21 to 9, if you're watching along on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, you'll note we've got a special guest in the studio, the Treasurer of South Australia, Stephen Mulligan, kicking off what we hope will be a long-running series of conversations we're going to conduct every fortnight on a Tuesday morning about all manner of things affecting people here in South Australia. And most importantly, this is the thing that motivates us with all these segments we get people on regularly, is that it provides an opportunity for you to speak to them directly as well. Treasurer, good morning to you and welcome to the 5AA Breakfast Studios.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, David. Thanks for having me in.
No, thanks for doing it, Treasurer. We're excited about this segment. We had a bit of a chat off air yesterday and we were saying that the thing about your job is that all roads of government inevitably lead to your desk. It doesn't matter if we're talking, as we were yesterday, about police numbers or the fact that the state government has identified the need to get involved with the Western Hospital, or, BHP, what is or isn't happening with GFG in Wyalla, how many teachers we've got, how much the teachers get paid. It all lands on your desk at some point, doesn't it?
Yeah, everything in government costs money, all of the services that are delivered, all the infrastructure that you've got to build. The job is trying to weigh up all of those competing priorities and make the best allocation you can according to the priorities of the day and hopefully get that right by the community, because in the end, every 4 years they're the ones who judge us as to whether we've done that properly or not.
So does every conversation you have with your cabinet colleagues begin with you answering the phone saying, "What the hell do you want?"
Well, that's the polite way. Usually it's just no. But
don't even let them ask.
But we've been pretty lucky, I think, in the last 2.5 years since we've been in. We've had a pretty strong economy that's driven a lot of revenue into the state budget, and that's given us more capacity to try and invest in those services and build out some of that infrastructure that we've needed. So it's been from that perspective, it's been good to be able to try and answer those calls from the community on those areas.
Jared on the Duttons text line asked the obligatory question: now that you are a regular on the 5AA Breakfast Show, will you be asking for a trade to Victoria in the next few months?
They need all the help they can get.
Thank you for that, Jared. In all seriousness, rounding out a conversation from yesterday, I know you conducted a press conference late yesterday in which you revealed that you've asked the administrator of the Western Hospital for a bit of an explanation as to how it got to this situation where we've had so many people contacting our program who were mid-chemotherapy treatment and suddenly found out the rug had been pulled beneath them. Have you received a response from the administrator yet?
Yeah, I mean, you can't leave patients in this position not knowing what's going on, particularly when the media is reporting that these services are going to be closed down in the oncology practice at Western Hospital. So I spoke to the administrator yesterday and said, look,
after our chat,
with all due respect, you guys are nowhere to be seen, and this is not something that the government is deciding or controlling, and we're having to go out and fill the vacuum left by you guys. So, the least we would expect is that you contact the patients, make sure that you and the oncologists are on the same page about what the plans are, and that patients are advised very quickly what arrangements are going to be put in place from Thursday of this week when the doors of the practice close.
Hey, this is a random one. I was chatting earlier to Will about these new mobile phone detection cameras and how much money they are bringing in. But, normally you hear the complaint about speed cameras and where they're located and everything else. I think this is a different category because there's a public consensus that everyone should know you don't use your mobile while you're driving. But as Treasurer, do you ever look at these cameras and think, tell you what, a few more of these we might be able to pay for the Women's and Children's Hospital?
Well, it is. I've got to say, it's frightening the numbers of people that are getting pinched by these cameras. And on the revenue side of things, I mean, all that money goes into the road safety fund, which by law has to be spent back out on the roads or road safety initiatives. So it's a bit of a net issue for the government, but I think what it indicates to all of us is, there are thousands of people driving their cars, not looking at the road. And, if you're a road user or you're a, parent of young children, I'd just find that terrifying. It's one thing, and the police probably wouldn't appreciate me saying this, there's no different ways of saying what's more unsafe than other behaviours. It's one thing to be, creeping a bit over the speed limit, but having your eyes on the road. But when you're just not looking at the road at all, and your car's doing 50 or 60 kilometres an hour, I just find that absolutely frightening, because motorists do make mistakes. People do change lane, maybe not seeing who's in their blind spot. And if another driver is not looking, that's when people are going to, get into an awful situation, cause a collision and maybe a casualty or fatality.
Put another way, I imagine then the positive social and cost benefit of the cameras would mean if the police came to you and said, we want some capital to put some more in. I can't imagine you have an issue with it.
Well, I think we would weigh that up, knowing that, again, that revenue goes straight into the community road safety fund, so it's going to get spent back out on the roads or on road safety.
So none of that's not like stamp duty. It doesn't end up in your bottom drawer. It
doesn't end up in general revenue that we can go and spend on whatever across government. It's got to be spent on the roads or on road safety. But even at the end of the first month, the police were reporting that the number of people, the rate at which people are getting caught by these things is starting to reduce. And, if we rolled out more cameras, and it would accelerate the reduction in the number of people who are doing the wrong thing and hence getting caught, I think we'd be open to that. But the community hates just blatant revenue raising in any form, and I think we would want to be assured that this isn't just an attempt to get more revenue into the state's coffers, that it is going to have a meaningful impact on making the road safer.
Treasurer Helen's called in with a question for you. Helen, good morning. You've got the Treasurer of South Australia.
Yes, good morning, Treasurer. Look, I'm wondering why you won't prioritise building or expanding prisons to put all of these people that are doing home invasions, assaulting people in shopping centres. As you saw the other day, Stacey's aunt was hit with a violent attack, and nothing seems to be happening. They are out on the street, they go, they get bail, they're back again. There was a kid the other day that 2 weeks from bail, getting out of bail, he's back out offending. When are you going to put money into it? And I'm just wondering, Minister, if it was your mother or your grandmother or myself, I'm going to arm myself with a taser. If we were assaulted, or your mother or grandmother, would anything change?
Well, thanks, Alan. That's a good question. We actually are putting a lot of money in to expand our prisons, as well as try and toughen all of those penalties and make sure we get more police out on the beat. And I realise that when you see incidents that are reported in the media, it feels like we're not making much progress. But look, after the previous government, I think they put an extra 270 beds into the prison. We're putting another 200 or 300 beds into the prisons as well, and trying to make sure that we catch more offenders undertaking this. But you're right, and I think you blokes raised it before earlier this morning, we've got to make sure that's followed the whole way through, that these people get punished properly. And we try and get people out of this type of offending in the community, because what worries us is if it continues, it makes people feel less safe. They'll not go out of their homes as much. They won't socialise. They won't feel safe going down to the shops, and we can't cause that that isolationism happening in our community where people don't feel safe leaving their homes. So that's why we're putting so much money into this.
Well, on that issue, then it follows on from something else. We started asking you right at the end yesterday about the police request for some more resources. There seems to be this unofficial accord between state governments that you don't want to create this arms race for police between states, because they've got to come from somewhere. But is it time? Have we got to a point now it's so desperate in South Australia, we just need to get very aggressive with the amount of money spent on recruitment in a way perhaps that is unprecedented?
Yeah, it's a good question. We're absolutely up for this, as is the Commissioner. But we realise that even with the extra money that we're putting into expanding the police force, we're still finding it hard to keep up with our recruitment targets. Now, I won't get the number exactly right like the Police Minister would, but I think we're trying to recruit 150 or 200 police a year or something like that. And we've been falling short of that. One of the problems of having a very tight labour market at the moment and a low unemployment rate is that it can be hard to convince people to come and work in these professions. And so in the meantime, we've done what I explained to you guys yesterday, and that's we've tried to get more of these protective security officers into the more back office type roles, doing the work inside the remand centre, for example, to release more sworn officers out onto the beat. But I think once we hit that full complement of sworn officers that are on the beat out there, if the Commissioner comes to us and says we need more police, we're up for that conversation. And I think, to give credit to past governments, Labor and Liberal, they've usually given the Commissioner of the day a pretty good hearing and funded those requests. We're just in this unusual situation at the moment of how do we get through this period where recruitment can't keep up with demand for new police, and that's why we're trying these new measures.
Hey, Treasurer, before we let you go, my understanding is you were out on the hustings on Saturday.
I was.
In the seat of black, doing a bit of pressing of the flesh on behalf of the Labor candidate there. What's the mood like in black? Because it's going to be a pretty interesting by-election. Obviously, the circumstances under which it's come around are somewhat unprecedented, and the subject of an ongoing court case. But it'd be pretty bizarre if Labor won that seat, wouldn't it?
Well, it's going to be hard for us. It's always hard for a government to win a seat at a by-election, particularly often opposition. I can tell you one thing. Geez, it's hilly in black. I mean, my electorate of Westlake's not even stormwater runs off. It's so flat. And it was uphill and down Dale Saturday afternoon. But I think the response was, I got a lot of people who recognised the former member, David Spears, and just seemed genuinely shocked or confused about the circumstances of his exit. And I think both parties, Labor and Liberal, are unsure as to how that's going to play out. But it's been a Liberal-held seat for a fair whack of time. It's going to be hard for us to win it, but we're going to have a red hot go, and we've got a great candidate in Alex Dighton.
Before we do let you go, tomorrow we're going to get the September quarter inflation data come out. Nice having the Treasurer come in regular in the studio. We can ask you some questions about these economic matters. Have you got a tip? Do you think we'll be back within the target range tomorrow?
Oh, look, I hope so. I mean, we're at 3.8 nationally through the year, and South Australia's a bit higher than that.
Why is South Australia? We consistently sit higher than the national average inflation-wise.
Yeah, well, particularly over the last 18 months, what's driven it is housing costs, both construction and rents, and that's a whole other issue that we could be discussing, talking about how housing the housing crisis is locking people out of home ownership, but also how it's reflecting itself in those inflation numbers. I mean, we've got to get these inflation numbers down because, as I like to say, but nobody really likes hearing, when the inflation rate drops, unfortunately it means things are still getting more expensive, but just at a slightly slower rate. And things are really tough out there. The grocery shop for most people is nearly double what it was 3 years ago. It's expensive to fill up the car. Insurance costs are mind-blowingly expensive for anyone who's got their home or car insurance renewal notice. Like, these are really hurting households, and household consumption in our economy is more than half of our economic output in our final demand figures. And that's gone backwards in South Australia. That's what the Reserve Bank's aiming for, is to push that down on households. But that means that pretty much all of us are just spending on the necessities, and that's not a recipe for future economic growth. So I hope we get inflation back down under control nationally and here in South Australia, and hopefully that gives us the capacity to take a bit of pressure off households going forward.
We'll get to the housing issue, I'm sure, in coming weeks when we get you in the studio.
And also the cost of construction and what that might mean if you were thinking about, building a brand new hospital.
Absolutely. Keeps me awake at night, believe me.
Absolutely. Steve Mullin, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch up again in a couple of weeks.
Thanks so much. Look forward to it.
All right, let's check traffic.
Parafield Gardens, hole in the road due to a burst water main. Salisbury Home and Lavender Drive. Two-car collision causing few headaches and delays at Findon, Crittenden Road at Balcombe Avenue. Slow for works at Teachery Gully, North East Road near Walter Street, and busy at St Morris for works too. McGill Road near Yeronga Avenue. Cameras mostly in the hills today, Main Street at Lobethal and Springs Road at Mount Barker. Where can you find over 70 traders under one roof? Only at the markets. Adelaide Central Market, the destination for fresh produce, meat, seafood, cheese, pantry essentials and more. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Coming up on 5AA Mornings, a nuclear waste facility planned for the FIVEAA Peninsula with AUKUS on the way. Calls for a national disability taxi scheme. Rachel Learcar will join me on that, and we'll have a look at the US election with 1 week to go until America votes for either Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Those stories, a lot more as well. Your calls. I'm Matthew Pantelis. Look forward to your company from 9.
Rowie and I are at a local restaurant who have invested in the magnificently sleek and reliable Vulcan doors. Rowie, could you step outside for a moment, please?
Oh, why is it always me outside?
Thank you. Vulcan doors offer automatic pedestrian doors as well as highly secure industrial roller doors and shutters.
Oi, Jimmy!
So keep out the heat as well as the pests that come with it.
Turbo, when are you going to let me back in?
Vulcan doors.
Jimmy.
Separate yourself
Oi.
from the rest, literally.
Oi!
Are the potatoes done?
30 seconds.
What about the desserts?
For over 12,000 South Australians, the most important meal of the day is from Meals on Wheels.
Hey, Amanda.
Hi Roger, how are you? Behind the meals and behind the wheels are our wonderful volunteers.
Amanda, hello. Smells delicious.
Become a volunteer today and help us keep the wheels turning.
See you tomorrow, Chris.
Visit mealsonwheelssa.org.au for details.
EcoVantage is part of thousands of SA families every day. Running hot baths or showers, in the laundry, our dishwashers and kitchens, it's all made better, greener and more affordable with an energy-efficient heat pump. Using around 70% less energy than traditional electric hot water services, and it's cheaper than gas hot water. Pump your power bills down and make EcoVantage part of your everyday with an energy-efficient heat pump. EcoVantage.com.au.
At Salvo's Home Care South Australia, we don't just provide care, we build a community centred around your comfort and well-being. Whether you need a hand at home or in the garden, help using your smartphone or assistance with getting to appointments, we've got you covered. Keep enjoying your favourite hobbies or discover new ones. Our services are as unique as you are. Talk to your local Salvo's Home Care experts today. 1300 111 227.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
4 minutes to 9. Matt Pantelis not too far away. 5AA News coming up in just a moment as well.
Do the dance. Don't pretend you don't know all the moves.
I know all the moves because I've seen you do them at Lasing. This is your go-to. My favourite memories of seeing anyone do karaoke is you doing Kate Bush.
Wuthering Heights, what a classic from the excellent album The Kick Inside. She's one of the least prolific musicians in music, Kate Bush. Well, the good news for Kate Bush fans is that for the first time since 2011, she's releasing a new album.
Wow.
The Times has got a story about it today. It's called 50 Words for... Oh, hang on. So hang on, here it is. Her, where is it? No, it's... I don't even know if it's got a title yet. But anyway, I think their last record was called Pi, P-I, like the mathematical equation. But not since 2011 she put a record out, and she's just so fastidious where she goes, I don't think these songs are any good. I'm just going to keep working on them. She spends I think The Hounds of Love, I think she worked on that record for 10 years. It's amazing these days when you think about Taylor Swift, she releases one album, 2 weeks later on Spotify, 4 new tracks drop.
Oh, that's right. And Kate Bush is one of the biggest and best examples of a phenomenon that is, historically didn't happen in the world of music, but might be more frequent, where her song Running Up That Hill went number 1 in 2022, nearly 40 years after it was released.
Yeah.
Because it appeared in Stranger Things. And suddenly it was back charting again, which is just... It's crazy to think about that the whole new generation discovered the music.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's why you hear Wuthering Heights or was it The Man with the Child in His Eyes, which is on that record as well. And those songs just 40 years on almost, they totally stand up to repeated listening. Whereas I wonder whether both sides and every bonus track on Taylor Swift's Tortured Poets, whatever it's called, is going to last the way those songs have lasted.
Russell McLarenvale's called in. Russell, you got a bit of a traffic situation you've just spotted.
Yes, g'day boys. The bridge that goes over Cross Road on South Road, there's a rear ender there, and the traffic's banked back a long way, so avoid South Road, I think.
Good advice, Russell.
Terrific advice, Russell. We appreciate it. And always, all your traffic tips, folks, you can call in on 8223 0000. Keep the calls coming in for Matt Pantelis. He's coming up after 9.